at me. Perfection. I'm doing the things. Hello, hi Portia. Hello, hi Tanya, Vanessa. Vanessa, I like how your name is spelled. Look at me. Oh, look at me. I can hear myself. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from in the chat before we get started. Um, like I said, I'm super excited to chat tonight because we're going to talk about retail. We're not going to talk about Shopify. We're not going to talk about Instagram. We're not going to talk about ads. We're going to talk about the industry. And I'm very excited to talk about that because it just isn't talked about enough. Okay. Let's see. We got Chicago, Boston, Baltimore, Philly, Atlanta, Miami, New Orleans, Minneapolis, Kansas City. Philly again, Dallas, VA, Huntsville. Okay, period. Did I say Atlanta? Atlanta. If y'all didn't know, shameless plug. My second conference is in Atlanta in we got like 18 days. Crazy. Charlotte, Birmingham, Michigan. All right, cool. Okay, guys, so let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get started because I do not want to keep you on here very long. I already know I'm about to overwhelm y'all as I always do. However, it's going to be super impactful, and I hope you walk away with a newfound understanding of just, what it is and what it ain't because the internet is filled with people telling you what it is and it really ain't. Okay. So I'm super excited. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And there we go. You guys, let me know in the chat if you can see my screen before I go ahead and do the dang thing. Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to go ahead and make this big. That is not what I wanted to do. Let's go backwards. We want to go into present mode. All right, y'all. We are going to try our hardest to keep this at an hour and a half. That is what time I scheduled into my calendar. And I'm really trying so hard to be time sensitive and also to hold myself accountable to not being on Zoom all day and all night. Okay. So tonight we're talking about retail one-on-one, but online stores. So if you did not know, if you sell something online, you are an online retailer. And, I've been coaching for 5 years. June made 5 years that I've been coaching, and since I've had the boutique academy, shall I say. And one of the things that I've realized through the duration of me coaching is that most boutique owners, product-based businesses don't know that they have an online retail company. And that is a huge component as to why a lot of them struggle and ultimately either, completely fail, or they just kind of fall off the face of the earth, or they decide that this is not for them. So just like everything else in the world, if you don't understand it, you're naturally going to feel like it's not for you. Or if you are not like studying it or actively continuously learning, you're going to always feel like you're either being left behind or that there's a gap in your understanding and your ability to get the results that you want. So I hope that tonight fills those gaps and gets you on the right track, right? So for those of you who may not know me, or maybe you just started following me, I'm Jans. I'm an online boutique owner. I'm an e-commerce business coach. I love all things related to content creation, and I'm also a digital marketing expert. And I call myself that. I am a self-proclaimed digital marketing expert because in the duration of me being in business, 6 years now, I have really mastered online marketing, which is basically what digital marketing is. So yeah. Now let's get into the good stuff. So tonight we're going to talk about retail versus e-commerce, why you need to understand retail if you're going to sell something online, the different roles that exist within retail, and then lastly, retail planning. So let's hop right into it. Now, first things first, you may be wondering, what is retail? You keep hearing me say, you are a retailer, you are a retailer. I don't know who this lady is. I forgot to change my picture. You may be wondering who or what is retail. So let me just start out by defining that for you, right? That's me. So you are an online retailer. Retail is the process of selling goods or services directly to consumers for their personal use. Retailers act as intermediaries between manufacturers or wholesalers and the final customers. Retail can take place in physical stores, online shops, or through various other channels. So when I used to work in the mall, or long story short, I used to work in the mall for a very long time. I worked in retail for almost 11 years. And I knew that to be retail. That was my only understanding of retail. And in all actuality, I didn't do much online shopping back then. So I really didn't have that much of an understanding of what online sales and things like that entail. I really didn't know what the heck I was about to walk into when I decided to start a business. But the one thing that I did understand was that all of those places that I worked, most of them did not manufacture their own products. Like we would get products into my first job ever, Forever 21, where, the tag didn't say Forever 21. It would say another brand's name, which let me know that they were getting that merchandise elsewhere. Or even if you think about department stores like Macy's and Dillard's and JCPenney, so on and so forth, all of them or almost all of them sell merchandise that is not necessarily their own, right? They sell Nike, they sell Michael Kors, they sell Nine West, so on and so forth. Those are not their products. So like the definition says, a retailer is just an intermediary between the manufacturer and wholesaler, and then ultimately the final customer. So long story short, that's what we do as boutique owners and as hair extension brands and so on and so forth. We are retailers at the end of the day. So retail is all about accessibility, variety and selection, convenience, customer service, and economic contribution. And I really want to talk about this economic contribution because it's important, okay? So as far as accessibility is concerned, retailers make products accessible to consumers by offering them in convenient locations, whether that's local or online. They offer a lot of variety and selection. So they provide a variety of products from different brands, which allow consumers to compare and choose the items that best fit their needs. Convenience, retailers offer products in quantities and formats suitable for individual consumers, making it easy for people to purchase what they need without having to buy in bulk. Customer service, retailers often provide additional services such as product demonstrations, customer support, and retail return policies, enhancing the shopping experience. And then lastly, economic contribution. Retail businesses contribute significantly to the economy by creating jobs, supporting other industries, and generating tax revenue. So I really want to talk about this economic contribution because a lot of times when we start businesses, we think of it in solo terms. We think of it as like, this is my business. I am the boss. I am my own boss. Ain't nobody gonna ever tell me what to do, and I get to do whatever I would like, right? Well, yes, but also you shouldn't be striving for that, especially not in retail. Number one, which we'll get into momentarily, you just don't know what you don't know at the end of the day. So when you are walking into foreign land, it's just like going to a foreign country for the first time and not having a map, right? You start this business, it's completely foreign to you. You've shopped, obviously, you've been to the store. You've shopped online, so you feel like you have a good flow of what to expect, but in all actuality, you don't know what to expect. So when you walk into this business expecting for it to always be yours and yours only, and for there to never be anybody else who gets to share perspective or, for example, tell you what they think you should do or tell you what to do, you actually are setting yourself so far backwards then you would if you would just open your brain to the likelihood that you are going to need support at some point by way of hiring help. And I don't know what that hiring help may look like for you. It may look like hiring somebody to help you with marketing. It may be accountant. It may be an assistant, someone to do customer service or fulfillment, so on and so forth. But it's important that from day one or as early as possible, let's say that you establish for yourself that if this business is growing and if your goal is for it to become, multi-million-dollar and all that good stuff, this should not be something that you're striving to do alone in any capacity. And in all actuality, as it grows, you're going to need someone to help you to expand your understanding of what is happening and how to streamline what is happening, right? Susie said economic contribution is goals. I know that's right. I never, just using myself as an example, I never imagined a time where I would be someone's employer. Like I was on my team call this morning. We were talking about how much money I have to spend this week for the conference. And I'm like, yeah, y'all, but don't worry, y'all are going to get paid. Like I didn't imagine a time where I would have to make sure that someone got paid because just like most people, I thought I was just going to start this little business and it was just going to be me and, I was going to ride this wave. I really didn't think about it. So I really want y'all to think about it. Now, obviously, all of us, or I would imagine all of us on here sell online, or maybe you're thinking about selling online. So you have an e-commerce business. E-commerce or electronic commerce is the buying and selling of goods or services using the internet. It includes various activities such as online shopping, online banking, online ticket booking, and online auctions. So e-commerce or retail, lives under the, or no, the other way. E-commerce lives underneath the umbrella of retail because we are selling products to an end consumer, and most of us are getting our products from manufacturers and suppliers and things of that nature. And at the end of the day, we're using sales tactics to get that product to the consumer. That is retail, right? So let's talk about what e-commerce entails. Global reach, convenience, cost efficiency, personalization and customer experience, diverse payment options, inventory management, marketing and sales automations, and scalability. So retail obviously could, have these things as well, but it's going to be pricier. It may take a little bit more time, so on and so forth. So starting with global reach, when you decide to start a physical store, like a brick and mortar store, global reach is not necessarily in line's view, or it's not in hand's reach, right? It's going to take some time and it's going to take some money for you to be able to get to the point where you're able to open stores in multiple locations all across the nation and ultimately, the world, right? So e-commerce allows businesses to reach customers worldwide, breaking down geographic barriers and expanding their market significantly faster than having a, traditional brick and mortar business. It's convenient. Customers can shop 24/7 from the comfort of their homes or on the go, making the shopping experience more convenient and accessible. And I wanted to mention this because a lot of times we are not thinking about the fact of we have so much opportunity to make money literally all day, every day. But for a lot of retailers, their marketing stops when they are not like present on the internet. So like they post everything in real time. They only post at specific times. They aren't running any ads. They aren't working with influencers. There is no one else or nothing else promoting that business when the owner's eyes are closed, right? That's not how e-commerce, or that's not how you should be running an e-commerce business. You should be thinking about how you could generate sales all day, every day. Cost efficiency, e-commerce reduces the need for physical storefronts and can lower operational costs for businesses. This can result in more competitive pricing for consumers. And here's the kicker. I think that for a lot of us, we dream of that day when we have all those orders on the floor and all that good stuff. Let me tell you, as someone who has had all them orders on the floor and had to package hundreds of orders in a day's time, it's not that enjoyable. And in all actuality, like in an ideal world, I would hand all that fulfillment off to a fulfillment center, somewhere where they specialize in that and they love to do it. It actually ain't that great, honestly. And I really didn't even think of the likelihood or possibility of me not having to handle that fulfillment. I dreamed of days where I got to, take the pictures of all the packages on the floor and whatnot. Nowadays, really ain't too concerned with it. Personalization and customer experience. E-commerce platforms can use data to personalize the shopping experience, recommending products based off of browsing history and preferences. As an e-commerce business, if you have not figured out how to personalize the shopping experience, you are missing out on so many sales. It's insane. Diverse payment options. I always tell my students and my clients, like, I know Shopify gives you Shop Pay, but go ahead and add Afterpay as well. Go ahead and add Sezzle as well. Go ahead and add Klarna as well. Have at least one other option. I always tell people that one of the mistakes I made when I first started my boutique was that I didn't have PayPal, because I had heard so many horror stories about PayPal holding people's money for a certain amount of time and all that good stuff. I ain't have time for that. So I literally told myself, oh, I'm not adding PayPal. And every day I would have customers come to my website and they were browsing and everything. And they would be like, will you ever add PayPal? And I would literally be like, oh, not at the moment, or maybe someday. I sounded silly. Okay. So silly. Eventually I added PayPal. Sales started coming in because people like PayPal. So it gives you so many different options for accepting payments, so on and so forth. Inventory management is a huge component of both brick and mortar as well as online stores, but advanced e-commerce systems can help businesses manage inventory more efficiently, reducing the chances of overstocking and stockouts. So a lot of times when you have a physical store, for a lot of people, some people are, savvy. They got it figured out. But there are a lot of people who have a physical store and they don't do a great job of managing their inventory. They can see the inventory in front of them, but they have no data that they can read to help them make a strategic decision about what to do with their inventory or what to get more of, so on and so forth. Marketing and sales automation E-commerce platforms provide tools for automated marketing campaigns, customer relationship management, and sales tracking, which enhances your overall business efficiency. And then lastly is scalability. This is just like on the last slide. This is that thing that we just don't think about. Like, we dream of the day where our business starts to scale and, it's extra profitable and we're making, thousands of dollars per day and tens of thousands of dollars per week and hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. But we don't actually imagine that could happen like next week, right? So ironically, people always ask me, like, how do I get more engagement? How do I get more, people to follow me? How do I get more people to my website? So on and so forth. And the interesting thing about that is, like, you want that thing and you are not prepared for that thing. It makes no sense. And not to say you can't get prepared. You could be getting prepared right now by learning what you need to learn and putting things in place to prepare for that. But I find it ironic that people literally want the virality and like the appearance of success, but when and if that success comes to them, they're often not ready for it. And it ends up hurting the business way more than it helps the business. I can attest to this. I had a week where I made a little bit over $100,000 across my two businesses simultaneously. And it was actually the worst week of my entire business career because I was not ready for what came with that. It was the worst time of my life, honestly, truly. So e-commerce businesses can scale quickly by adding new products or expanding to new markets without significant physical infrastructure and changes. So if we go back to point one, global reach, every single time we post, we have the opportunity to reach people, not just where we are, but all across the world. And we never know what's going to be the result of our efforts. We hope for the best, but we're not actually often prepared for the best. So that is why we're here, because I want to help you to understand what you need to be considering to prepare for those best of, circumstances. All right. So just comparing the two side by side, retail refers to the process of selling goods or services directly to consumers through physical stores. Often, e-commerce involves buying and selling goods or services over the internet. So how exactly are they the same? Well, purpose. They both aim to sell products or services to consumers. They're both focused on consumers or customers. Both prioritize customer satisfaction and striving to provide a good shopping experience. Inventory management is a huge component of both of them. They both require effective inventory management to ensure products are available when customers want them. And number 4, marketing and sales. Both of them use marketing and sales strategies to attract and retain customers. Now, 3 and 4 are where most online retailers are struggling. Let me know if either one of those is where you're struggling. Inventory management, marketing, and sales. Either one, you could put 3 or 4 or both in the comments. Let me know. And I can say that I know this to be the case because I too dealt with this as well. Okay. And it all stemmed from my lack of understanding about what they actually were and like how they play a role in the business. And don't you fret, because that's what we hear. Most people are saying both. Okay, cool. We got 1, 4, but most people are saying both. Okay, let's keep going. So what you need to understand about retail, right? Let's start with inventory management because that's a big one. It's all about efficient stock control. Retail knowledge helps you maintain the right inventory levels, avoiding being overstocked or understocked, right? So there are times where the inventory just ain't moving. And, you went from having, 7 styles that maybe weren't moving as fast as you wanted. And then you went and bought new arrivals because you thought that was the answer. And now you went from having 7 styles to having 17 styles that aren't moving. You are overstocked, my friend. That is literally what it looks like to be overstocked. On the other side of the spectrum, there are people who sell out constantly. They can't keep inventory in, but that also means that they're missing out on sales. You are understocked. Neither one of those is a good thing. In one capacity, your money is tied up. In the other capacity, you're missing out on money. We need to figure those out. Turnover rates. So turnover is one of those words that even till this day, I have to ask somebody, now explain that one to me one more again. So understanding how quickly products sell helps you make informed purchasing decisions. Basically, the word turn is like how many times in a whatever duration of time do you sell out of your inventory? So how many times does it turn over, basically? You need to know that. It's important because let's say, for example, you just keep buying and keep buying and keep buying. but you never turn over your inventory. It's just not a thing. Like you sell 27% of your inventory every single month, and you just keep stocking it, keep stocking it, keep stocking, and you're not looking backwards to figure out how can you sell more of that unsold inventory. How, more importantly, how can you collect some more of your money back before you put more money into the inventory, right? Customer experience is super important, and I'm gonna stay right here for 2 seconds. Customer service is one of those words that I always hear people say. They're like, when they describe like what sets their business apart from others, they always say, we have great customer service. We have the best customer service, or we're gonna offer the best customer service. And I always, one of the things that we talk about in my program, e-commerce profit plan, is what is your customer service philosophy? What are your customer service rules, right? Everybody should have those. So I'll give you an example. If you've ever worked in retail, you've likely heard the statement that the customer is always right. And the customer is not always right. We know that. Sometimes the customer is wrong. But as it pertains to retail and providing excellent customer service, the customer is always right. I need y'all to understand that if you are claiming that customer service is at the top or utmost of importance to your business, the customer is always right. Your goal should be always to provide customer satisfaction, no matter how wrong that customer is. So, for example, in my business, my rule is we fix it. If it's a problem, we fix it. This customer, I think I told this example the other day. I had a customer one time. She had bought 2 legging sets for me. She wore one. The second one, she sent a picture back to us, and she claimed that she had 2 or 3 big old holes in the butt area, right? So in my brain, I'm imagining that, maybe in the seam. The holes that she sent us pictures of were in like the actual butt area. That was just very odd to me as a person. I'm like, she must have got caught on something and it ripped these pants. Like, that has to be the case. She told me she had them on. A person who does not understand customer experience and customer service is gonna say, well, she wore them, so I don't know what to tell her. I wish I could say that, but it's in my customer service philosophy to fix your issue. So although I feel like she got stuck on something, me responding with excellent customer service is saying, I am so sorry that that happened to you. I know that that must have been embarrassing. We're going to issue you a refund for that. And also, we're going to ship you another one. Do y'all know what happened the very next day? She responded and said thank you, but she also placed another order. Why? Because we provided excellent customer service. The bad thing that happened to her did not overshadow the good that we did. She was like, oh, they took care of me. I'm going to give them more money. So it is so important for you to understand the role that customer experience plays in a business, because a lot of you guys are likely missing out on money because you don't provide a great customer experience and you don't provide great customer service. Emma said, true story. So good retail practice includes providing excellent customer service, which translates to positive reviews and repeat business online. I literally get reviews from people who say like, they shipped us the wrong item, but they fixed it immediately and shipped me the right one. Or they'll say like, I got a damaged item. However, they sent me another one and I got a coupon code for my next order. I will definitely be shopping again. When you fix people's issues, they trust you that much more. When you don't fix people's issues, they go and tell people that you didn't fix their issues. I need y'all to understand that, okay? Merchandising is an element of the customer experience. Now, when you work in a physical store, merchandising is like where you place things on the walls and where you place things on the racks and things of that nature. But as it pertains to online businesses, it's just properly presenting your products. So y'all know I always tell the girls like, at all costs, if possible, avoid stock images, because stock images really don't help to tell the story of your business. It really doesn't help to get the point across. But also, the images or the photos that you take of your products ultimately translate into merchandising on your website. So how you choose to place things or the order in which you choose to place things on your website plays a role in how people shop them. Just like in a store, for example, you may look at a rack and it's like a shirt, a pair of jeans, and then a different shirt, and then a jacket, and then a skirt, and then another shirt. And you're looking at the rack like, oh, I like these pants, but I also like both of these shirts. And I like this jacket too, because they all kind of like go together. I can see myself mixing and matching. That is merchandising. You can do that online too. But it's hard for you to merchandise a store or online store when you didn't buy the inventory with it in mind that it needed to be merchandised. A lot of times you're buying things, randomly. This looks good. This is cute. Oh, I like this. This purple is pretty, but this red one's pretty too. This yellow one's pretty too. It's not translating very well online. The consumer sees first before they read. We know consumers don't read. We know that. So with that in mind, we have to think about the visuals first and foremost, because the visuals will help to enhance the likelihood of them shopping, which can lead to higher sales. So just to give you a tidbit here, if you did not know, in Shopify, you can manually organize the order of your products. It may be right now automatically set to like lowest to highest price, or best selling to worst selling. Typically is set to best selling or worst selling. You can change it to manual and put the products in the order that you want them to be displayed on your website. That is merchandising. You taking the time to actually think through where and how you want things to be presented on your online store. Pricing strategies play a huge role in retail in general, especially online. We got what's some people, Amazon and Shein and Temu and all them people. TikTok Shop then took over our lives at this point. So competitive pricing is important. Retail knowledge helps you price your products competitively while ensuring profitability. Promotions and discounts, let's stay there for a second. Let me know. Y'all probably ain't gonna tell yourself, but let me know in the chat. Is there anybody in this room who is like, I don't offer promotions and discounts too often because I'm scared that my audience is going to become dependent on the sales and promotions? Let me know. Just give me a 1 in the chat if you feel that way. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Rochelle said hand raised, period. So here's the thing. Promotions and discounts are a very important part of retail, because it's not just about you selling a product with a discount. Promotions and discounts help you to move inventory. It helps to increase your inventory turnover rate. It helps to increase your inventory sell through. And they're highly effective for, those things that have just been with you for way too long. But it's hard to like make those promotional and discount decisions when you don't actually know how long something has been there, or when you're emotionally attached to, I paid $35 for this. So what? Let's make your $35 back. It's been here for 6 months. The inventory is collecting dust. And I'd like to think of inventory in dollars, personally speaking. If you're in my program, I say this all the time. I don't really care to know how many of anything that you have left. I want to know what the value of it is. I want you to tell me, how much did that inventory cost you? If you tell me that you are sitting on $10,000, $20,000 worth of inventory, meaning money that you spent, that's a problem. We need some promotions ASAP, today, right now, in this very moment. Now, yeah, we can dig through the data and see, like, what's most profitable here, what's actually still being clicked on, adding to cart, so on and so forth. But them things that people ain't showing no interest in, let them go. Because you holding on to old inventory is not only holding up your money, it's also holding up the opportunity for you to get something new, something better, or maybe even like restocking something that sold really well in the past, and being able to have the quantity of inventory that you need to have of the right things to be able to increase your revenue possibility. A lot of times too much of your money is tied up because you are holding on to things that you're emotionally tied to, and that just don't make sense. So understanding retail promotions can drive sales without eroding profit margins. One of the things I always tell my students to think about is the last time that they went into a store because there was a sale happening. Like, there are a lot of places that I don't shop until there is a sale. And that doesn't mean that I was waiting for the sale. It just means that, hey, they promoted that they had a sale and I just so happened to see it. And now I'm going to go shop with them. Otherwise, they were just sharing their cute little pictures and I was just scrolling on past. Or everybody's emails in my inbox say new arrivals. Everybody got new arrivals. Like, there ain't nothing special about new arrivals. But if I see a 50% off or a 40% off or 25% off in a sea of new arrivals, guess what? I'm probably going to click on. let me click on this 25% off real fast before I decide to give somebody my full price dollars, which I probably won't if I'm being honest. Like if I'm not looking to shop, I'm not gonna shop. But if I see a sale, personally speaking, I'm probably gonna click just to see. Just it's always great to save a little coin. So understanding retail promotions can drive sales without eroding your profit margins. If you know what your profit margins are on the inventory, it makes it so much easier for you to decide how much of a discount you can offer. Quick example, if you know that your profit margins are, let's say, at 70%, that means that you can offer a discount up to 70% off. If you offer 70% off, you just break even. You make your money back. But that means you have plenty of room to offer 20% off, 25% off, 30% off, 40% off, so on and so you're still making a profit at the end of the day. And one thing that I constantly tell my students, and my accountant tells me all the time, hey, it's better to make some of your money back than to make none of your money back. So even if you're at the point where you have inventory that has been marked down, and maybe you feel like it's marked down as low as humanly possible, I want you to take some time to ask yourself, number one, when was the last time I promoted that? And number two, when was the last time I sold one? Because if I've had that inventory marked down since, July? If I've had that inventory marked down since January, since after Christmas, and it ain't moved, you know what? I would much rather make some of my money back than to make none of my money back. If I paid $35 for that, I would much rather make $20 than to make $0. I might do a little all clearance items are $20 today. And I just set a goal for how much cash I want to collect, not profit. Profit is out the window at this point. I need cash to be able to put back into my business for inventory, for marketing, for a photo shoot, for whatever I need cash. Sometimes you need cash. And if you think about any store that you've ever shopped at that had a clearance sale, a blowout sale, an end of year sale, an annual, a semi-annual sale, a 4th of July sale, or whatever sale, they're not having sales just because. They're having sales because they need money. They need to collect your cash. They need to move some inventory because they already have plans for money they want to make in November and December, or October, November, December, and they need money to be able to make money. So therefore, they're not going to hold on to something that's holding up money. They're going to let that go so they can collect cash to put it towards the things that are going to help them make money in October, November, and December. Okay. I always keep that in mind. Don't be emotionally tied to it. It's the worst thing possible that you can do. Marketing and sales tactics are obviously super important because we have to market in order to make sales. Whoops, let me go back. So effective marketing, retail principles guide you in creating compelling marketing campaigns that attract and retain customers. Sales techniques, there are a bunch of sales techniques, but one or two that I think everybody should know and should be utilizing is upselling and cross-selling. So upselling is basically you getting people to buy something that's higher priced than what they were already intending to buy. Cross-selling would be you selling them something else that maybe complements the thing that they were looking at, right? So these are easy ways to increase your average order value. But remember, I said it's really hard to merchandise your store when you didn't buy the inventory strategically. And it's really hard to upsell and cross-sell when you didn't buy the inventory strategically. So if you bought some pants and you ain't buy no shirts to go with them pants, it's going to be real hard for you to cross-sell. If you just got a bunch of dresses and none of the dresses really live in the same storyline, like you got some club dress, you got a club dress, but you got a church dress, but you also got an office wear dress, it's going to be real hard for you to upsell another dress to that person because they don't tell the same story at the end of the day. So worst effing mistake. Listen, I've been there. Takia says, so are you doing a sale on entire orders or each piece? Either one. It's totally up to you. It's depending on what do you need in that moment. Like promotions and discounts should be attached to a need. So if I look at the value of my inventory and I can see that it's valued at $20,000 and I need to make 10,000 to, let's say, cover some inventory. Maybe you went to Magic and you got a bunch of inventory on order that got to be paid for. I need my money. So I got to look at my inventory and ask myself, what am I discounting here? Am I giving a discount on the order to maintain an average order value? So like you're saying, spend $100 to get 50% off? Or am I saying, hey, all of this inventory is $20 and I have a set goal of how many pieces I want to sell? Depends on how much money, depends on if you need a specific amount of money per transaction or if you're just trying to clear inventory out with a specific dollar amount attached to it. It depends on your circumstances. So financial management, so important, y'all. I don't know why. I will tell on myself, y'all. I didn't think about it that clearly either. I knew that I was buying inventory, but I really wasn't thinking about finances. I knew that I was pricing inventory, but I really wasn't thinking about finances. Like I wasn't really, I won't even say thinking, like I didn't understand finances. I didn't understand gross profit and net profit. Like I would see, oh, I sold a $40 item that I bought for $15. Therefore, I made a profit of $25. Like that was what I believed. I made $25. But in actuality, Shopify took 2.9 plus 30, 2.9% plus 30 cents of that. And then my shipping was set up incorrectly. So I had to pay a percentage of that. And then I have daily expenses, technically speaking. Like if my expenses in the business are $5,000, that $5,000 is getting spread across 30 days. So some money out of the money that I made, some of the money is coming out of, or some of the expense money is coming out of things that I sold. I didn't really understand none of that. I just knew, oh, if I price it high enough, I make profit. I wasn't thinking about expenses and growth and paying myself and things of that nature, right? So budgeting is a huge component of retail management. Retail budgeting techniques help you plan for expenses and manage cash flow effectively. Stick around because I will literally show you what a retail budget looks like because I have them these days. I want you to see what that looks like. It's going to help you to plan for expenses and manage your cash flow effectively. Let me tell you, cash flow was a word I never thought about in my entire life. I didn't even know what that meant because in my head, if I'm making sales, there must be cash flow. Well, not if money is going out just as quickly as it is coming in. So if I had a Shopify deposit into my account for $1,500, but let's say I just did a photo shoot last week and that payment just came out that same day or maybe the next day, there's no cash flow. The money came in and the money went right back out because I'm not thinking about when I should be spending and when money should be coming in. I'm not thinking strategically about like when I drop new arrivals versus when I do another photo shoot, so on and so forth. Like the money was coming and going, the money was going just as fast as it was coming, long story short. Profitability should be a goal. Everybody gets so concerned with having the biggest Shopify screenshot. And I will raise my hand. I once too was that person, pre-accountant, pre me having an accountant who could knock some sense into me. I was like, man, I will do anything to get a $20,000 month, to have my first $10,000 day. I will do anything, meaning I'm going to keep buying inventory. I'm going to restock that thing again. And not to say that those are bad things, but I wasn't thinking about it from a financial standpoint. I wasn't thinking about profitability for the business. So sure, I may be able to sell all of those products and the sale in itself is profitable because of, the pricing is right. But if I'm not taking into consideration how much money I spent on inventory total that month and how much my rent at my warehouse was and how much my utilities were and how much I had to pay my team and how much I had to pay my accountant and how much I had to pay pay for ads, so on and so forth, me striving to make that $10,000 or whatever actually wasn't worth it because I had to spend so much in a month to be able to make that money. And in all actuality, I just kept spending, and there was no profit left over at the end of the day. So I always tell people that sometimes it's better to make less in sales because it creates more in money. Because sometimes we're spending more to make more in sales when in actuality, we just needed to prioritize profit. How much profit do you want to collect in this month? And I really didn't realize that, or I wouldn't say realize it. I really didn't start to truly prioritize profit in my business until probably 2022, where I switched my accountant, number one, and I started to do the profit first method for banking. And that was the first time where I could, number one, see my money. Like I wasn't just seeing it all go into one account and then come out of the same account. I could see where my money was going. And I was allocating my money to specific things. And it was no longer a case of like, oh, well, the money is there, go ahead and spend it. It was like, oh, no. We only have this amount for inventory because that's what's in the inventory account. All the other money has been allocated. It's in the tax account. It's in the owner's pay account. It's in the operating expenses account. I no longer could spend money however I wanted because I was now budgeting properly for the retail business that I had. Okay. Hopefully y'all following me. Let me see. I'm sorry, I'm on the train. It's going in and out. Yeah, there's gonna be a replay. Yep. Strategic planning. So, oh wait, profitability, understanding cost of goods sold or your COGs, and gross margins ensures your business remains profitable. Strategic planning, so seasonal trends as product-based or more so clothing-based businesses for us. Actually, in general, you might see seasonal trends. Like, for example, spring and summer are not my great months. So I don't strive to make them my best months. I know I've been in business almost 6 years now. I know what to expect in a spring and summer. I'm not ever expecting my spring and summer to look like my fall and winter. It's just not a thing. And that is the case in any retail business. They understand where they should expect money and they plan accordingly. So I don't plan for equal amounts of money to come from spring and summer. I plan for less money to come in the spring, even lesser money to come in the summer, but for it to kick up in the fall and kick way, way up in the winter. I plan for that. So seasonal trends, knowledge of retail trends helps you plan for seasonal fluctuations and demand. And that may look different in every person's business. Like someone who sells swimwear, their spring and summer may be their best months, whereas fall and winter may not. Or if you sell like resort wear and things like that, spring and summer may be your best months, fall and winter may not. Whereas if you sell like, maybe you're known for like your coats and your sweaters and things like that, fall and winter may be your best months, spring and summer, not so much. That's okay. You just need to plan accordingly. Business growth. Strategic retail planning supports sustainable growth and expansion. So we're going to talk about planning momentarily. Generally speaking, like I hope the point that I'm driving home here is that it's unrealistic for you to expect that every month or every quarter is better than the last as it pertains to retail, because that's just not how retail works. It's not linear. Every year isn't always better than the last. And especially if you don't have full control over your data, if you don't know how to read it and interpret it and use it to your advantage, it's not going to work out. It's just not going to work out the way that you plan ever. Customer retention, so loyalty, retail experience teaches you how to create loyalty programs that keep customers coming back. Like I said, I worked in retail for a really long time, so I have my fair share of experience as it pertains to loyalty programs and things of that nature. But I also have my fair share of experience with promotions and discounts that are offered to people to get them to come back and remain loyal. So, for example, when I worked at the Limited, every month we would do almost every month we would do this thing where we had to hand out these cards to every customer. So if you purchased something, you would get this card and it would say, in 2 weeks or 2 weeks from now, we're going to have this promotion where if you spend $150, we'll give you $25 off your transaction. And if you spend $200, we'll give you $50 off of your transaction, right? They were planning ahead for sales that they wanted to generate. And these coupons were first and foremost handed to people who had already purchased from them, because they knew that that would enhance the likelihood of them coming back. And if you think about it, strategically, think about like, okay, when they bought from me this today, there may be something else that they wanted. They may not have been able to afford it today. But if I say, hey, 2 weeks from now, I'll let you know 2 weeks from now, we're going to have this sale or have this promotion where if you spend X amount of dollars, we'll give you this percentage off. It enhances the likelihood of them coming back because they know that, number one, they're getting the discount, but number two, they know when that's going to occur. So if they need to get some money from their boyfriend, their husband, or whatever, they need to go drive the Ubers or whatever. I don't know. They need to go do something. They got time to go do it. That is an element of you planning ahead in retail. Personalization, understanding your retail customers' behaviors allows you to personalize the shopping experience, which increases the retention rate as well. So when I think of personalization in e-commerce, I think about like segmentation, for example. A lot of people struggle when it comes to segmentation simply because they're not thinking about it from a personalization standpoint. So when I am segmenting, I'm not just thinking like how many people have done this or done that. I'm also thinking about how can I personalize the shopping experience for them moving forward. So if I create a segment for people who've purchased a dress, let's say 2 or more times in the last 6 months, I now know that I can market to you about dresses. That creates a more personalized marketing experience for that person. or if this person has spent over $1,000 with me in a year or in 2 years, I might say, you know what? This is a VIP customer. I want to address them like a VIP when I send emails to them versus, to the general public, we talk about general things. It may sound different when I'm talking to those people. So segmentation allows for those opportunities for you to personalize the shopping experience. And then I think this is the last one, supply chain management. So this is all about vendor relationships and logistics. So as we know, we get merchandise from our vendors. Good retail practices involve building strong relationships with suppliers, ensuring timely restocks and quality products. I said, well, up until this year, I sold a lot of the same things from the same company. Every now and then I would have something else from a different supplier, but I had gotten to the point where number one, I had ordered so much that I had this little discount that they gave me on every single order. Thank the Lord. But also all the other vendors that I've shopped with over time or shopped with continuously, I prioritize building relationships with them because they will contact me before they contact someone else simply because we have that established relationship. So when I'm WhatsApping them and things like that, I'm making sure I'm friendly. I'm asking questions. Even when I may not have it in my brain that I'm like about to buy something right now today, I may go ahead and just like reach out and say, hey, do you have anything new? Would you mind showing me your lookbook for the month or whatever? So on and so forth. Because if they know or feel like I am a avid shopper or a regular shopper, that is like the beginning of that relationship being built. And it creates it's easier to keep the products that you need in stock because there's a relationship already established. Logistics, efficient logistics and fulfillment processes improve delivery times and reduce costs. So like I was saying earlier, we want these things, right? We want our business to move faster and all that stuff, but we often aren't prepared for that. So when I got to the point where my business became uncontrollable, and by uncontrollable, I mean like, I had been promising that we were going to fulfill, if you place the order today, it gets shipped today. I got to the point where that no longer was the case because I was a one-woman team trying to fulfill 100 orders in a day. It wasn't working out. So I had to either change my policy or I needed to get help. And like I said earlier, it's so unrealistic for you to think, oh, this is just going to be my operation forever. So my first official hire was my youngest sister. She actually quit her job and came and worked with me full time. And that allowed me to keep my logistics efficient and to keep my fulfillment processes straightforward and streamlined, but it also freed up my opportunity or my space to be able to do the things that I needed to do as the CEO of a business, right? So those are elements of supply chain management. Okay, this is the last one for real. Data-driven decisions, the most important one. As your business continues to grow, whether that be growing in, from a marketing perspective or a sales perspective, it's important for you to know how to analyze what's occurring. So sales analytics or retail principles teach you how to analyze your sales data to make informed business decisions. I always joke about how when I was a sales associate, I didn't know what them people were talking about to me most of the time when I clocked in for work. They would say like, so today our KPIs for the day are, we want this UPT and our conversion rate for the day is this. I didn't know what none of them words meant. I had no idea. I was just like, okay. And I would go about my merry way. But as eventually a sales manager and then a store manager and now a business owner, I need to know what those things mean because ultimately my decisions play a role in our ability to control the results that we get. If I don't understand it, I don't know what to do about it. So they help you to make informed decisions about what to do in your business. Customer insights, if you understand your customers' behavior or purchasing behavior, it helps you to tailor your offerings to meet their needs. Your inventory reports have so much information in them that so many people are overlooking simply because they don't know how to analyze them. If you are properly categorizing your products in your back end, you will be able to see what product types work best for your business. You will be able to see which ones you sell the highest quantity of, but also which ones drive the most sales and also which ones are most profitable to your business. You would also be able to identify which product categories really aren't that impactful for your business, and you probably should stop selling. Like, for example, jumpsuits and rompers, absolutely not my thing. I don't spend very much money on there. Every blue moon, I might add one because I'm like, I think my customers may like it, but you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to spend a bottom dollar on it. I'm not going to overspend on a category that just traditionally speaking has not worked well for my business. You should be able to read your data and interpret that. And you can't if you're not categorizing your products correctly in your back end, okay? Whew. So all of those things that we just went through are responsibilities. And it's a lot. And guess what? They typically don't belong to one person in an e-commerce business. However, when we start a business, it's just us. And that just means that we need to be studying retail. We need to be studying those, I think that was 9 things that we just went through. Those are 9 things that we should be working extremely hard to understand until we can put someone in place that will take that off our plate. So for example, my accountant and I work with this woman named Darlene. Well, we don't work together right now, but I work with this woman named Darlene who does inventory strategy. Her and my accountant together took data analysis for the most part off of my plate. They would look at what was selling and what was not. They would look at the numbers and say, this is profitable, this is not, stop selling this, stop buying this, spend this amount, so on. I didn't have to make those decisions for myself anymore because I had someone in my corner to do it for me. And when I followed their directions, because they're the experts, guess what? 9 times out of 10, I made my goals. Now, granted, I had to market. I'm still the marketer in the situation, but having those 2 elements of my business, inventory management and finances in order, help me to make my goals so much easier. But if you are thinking that you're going to be your own accountant, your own inventory manager, your own marketer, you're going to be all of those things for the rest of this business, crazy. It makes no sense. You should be striving to make enough money to be able to hire people to do these things for you. Period. Okay. You said, and baby is tired. I know, girl. I know. You ain't got to tell me. So let's talk about these key roles and responsibilities. So these are some of the roles that you are probably performing, or you are performing right now. I won't say probably. You are performing as a one-man band, okay? Problem is, you're likely not doing them all well. And I can say that because I was not doing them all well, okay? I wasn't. I got a few of them down pat, and I was like, okay, girl, you got enough money to, you could afford an accountant. My first accountant was $1,200 a month. I had got to the point where I was making, consistent $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month. I said, hey, we're gonna give this lady this 1,200 because this is not this part. I just can't. I just can't. So sales associate, sales manager, store manager, buyer, merchandiser, marketer, inventory manager. These are some of the roles you're performing right now, and I'm going to break down each one of them for you one by one, so you can identify for yourself where your gaps are. Okay. So let's start with sales associate. Right now, you are likely just a sales associate, but you may not be a good one. And that's the problem. So as it pertains to retail, a sales associate interacts directly with customers. They provide product information, they assist with purchases and handle transactions. So when I was a sales associate, first job ever, Forever 21, then I worked at like Abercrombie, and then in college I worked at Hollister for a while. I worked at Wet Seal. In all of those jobs, I was a sales associate. So that meant that I didn't have to make no decisions. All I had to do was answer questions, say hello when people came in the door, say goodbye when they were walking out. I had to check people out at the register. That was it. I ain't have much else. I had to put the clothes back on the wall, make sure that the hangers were straight. That's it. That is a lot of people who are just doing that right now. So online, you're, providing customer service, you're answering questions when they come, you're actually showcasing the products and, writing captions and product descriptions that talk about the products. You might got your little chat box on your website, answering questions, providing product information, solving issues when they occur, processing orders, sales associate activity. And that checks a box. It's one of the boxes that does, in fact, need to be checked in retail, but there are 7, 8, 6 other boxes that we need to check in the grand scheme of things. So the next one is buyer. You probably spend most of your time as a buyer. Let me know anybody in here who is on Fashion Go or LA Showroom every day. Give me a 1 in the chat. I have weaned myself off of it. I am very, very proud of myself. The 2024 version of myself, she is evolved. She is new. I am a new lady. I am so proud of myself. I used to be on there scrolling first thing in the morning before I even open my eyes all the way. I'm like, let me see what Fashion Go has today. Let me see what Zanana has today. I don't want to miss anything. I know. So right now you spend a good portion of your time as the buyer in your business. However, you may not be very good at that either. Now, what I mean by that is you buy it, right? But good buyers buy with data. They buy with the understanding of what their customers will and will not like. They buy with a plan. They have like a specific budget that they have to stay within. When I was talking about Darlene, who I started working with, she gave me a budget, not just for the business, but broken down by the category. She was like, Jance, you need this many bottoms, this many tops, this many dresses, this many this. Like I would literally look at the report and it would say, Jance, you need 600 bottoms and you need 27 dresses. To an unsuspecting eye and someone who doesn't understand what's going on here, who doesn't understand like product demand and customer preference, you will be like, that don't make sense. Why would I buy 600 of something and only 27 of the other? That's why you got to let experts do what experts do. And guess what? Like I said, nine times out of 10, I would sell the inventory exactly the way that it needed to be sold. It was insane. It was crazy. I was like, okay, girl, you know what you're talking about. But she used my data to figure that out. It was insane. So in retail, a buyer selects and purchases products to be sold in the store. They negotiate with suppliers and they analyze market trends. As far as online, the equivalent role is e-commerce buyer. They perform similar duties, selecting products for the online store, negotiating with vendors, analyzing online shopping trends, and managing supplier relationships. So not only are you buying, you're also, again, reading your data to make sure that you're buying the right things. And a big one in here is negotiating with your suppliers. Now, I ain't gonna say this is an easy thing. Most of them will say no, especially if you're buying small quantities of things. And you also got to be realistic in what you're asking. Like you can't be looking at a $30 thing, you're asking it for 15. They're gonna be like, absolutely not. But if I'm buying a $30 thing and I'm buying, let's say, 18 or 24 of them, I might say, hey, is it possible for me to get this for $25 instead of 30 since I'm buying this quantity? And guess what? They may say yes and they may say no, or they might say the lowest we can go is 27. And guess what? I'm gonna take the 27. Thank you so much. I saved $3 per item. You should be negotiating because that is a financial decision that you're making. When you buy inventory, that is a financial decision. Every dollar counts. A pack of inventory that you save $3 per item on, that could add up at the end of the day. I mean, that could be an ad. I could spend that money on advertising. Thank you so much for that savings. I'm not gonna complain. So buying is where a lot of people are stuck. They just buy, and they ain't selling much, and that's the problem. Then we got the role of merchandiser. This is one of my favorite roles when I worked in retail. But you may be neglecting this role because you got a cute website, but it ain't merchandised well. You got things placed wherever you would like them to be placed. You don't move things around often. You don't even update that website often. The banner at the top has been the same for as long as it just ain't changed. It still got spring stuff and we in summer, or it's about to be fall and you still got your beginning of the year graphic up there. That's ridiculous. Absolutely terrible. So the thing that I think about here is when I worked in retail, we would do what's called a floor set. And the floor sets would occur maybe like every month and a half, every 2 months or something like that, depending on how quickly things were turning over in the store. Sometimes we just did minor changes. So we might change the outfit on the mannequin at the front of the store or the mannequins at the front of the store. Or maybe we will update the window displays, right? We weren't doing that because we were bored. We were doing that to get people in the door and to get people to click on things. Well, not click on things, but get people in the door and get them to pick things up. So online, you're moving things around to hopefully get them to click on the thing. You're adding a new banner to hopefully get people to click on something that maybe they didn't click on before. Or maybe you just update the picture. It could be the same product, different picture, different text, different call to action to see if you get a different result. You should be updating these things regularly. So online, the e-commerce merchandiser plans and manages online product displays. They ensure products are presented attractively on the website. They manage the digital inventory and analyze website data to optimize product placement. So they might be like, hey, this isn't selling well. Let's put it in the banner, or let's make a banner and put it somewhere on this homepage. Or they might say like, hey, we need to reorganize the order of the products because what we thought was going to make up whatever percentage of sales this month or this quarter or whatever is not. So we need to prioritize that in our displays, so on and so forth. So merchandising is super important because what people see impacts what people do. Rochelle said, how do you find an inventory manager? Like you would find any other job, you go to LinkedIn, you go to Indeed, you go to any job board where someone would have a resume attached. Literally, you got to think like you're a business owner. If as a human being, when you're looking for a job, you go to Indeed or Monster or wherever. I ain't looked for a job in so long, child. But LinkedIn, I would say go looking for those people with those roles on a job board, or you can put out your own job description. I've done that plenty of times. Like I write up the description of what I'm looking for and put the description up on a job board and see if anybody applies. And not to get too off topic, but it's important to know, like, the beauty of having an online business is that the people that you hire don't have to be local to you or nearby. My assistant lives in, I think she just moved to Delaware. My community manager, she lives in Alabama. My social media manager lives in the Philippines. Darlene, who did my inventory strategy, she lives in Dallas. My accountant lives in Belize. None of these people live nearby me. I found them all on the internet. So you just got to put it out there that you're looking for help. How often do you update? I don't have a schedule. I update it as I see things working or not working in my business. So if something sells out and I have it featured in my banner, I'm going to change my banner. If something is not selling as well as I thought that it would, I'm probably going to update it somewhere on my website. So it really depends. I look at what's happening in the data and I use the data to make a decision. This is where most people struggle, the marketing department. And it's usually simply because you don't understand it. I'll talk about marketing, I think, in like 4 slides. Don't worry. In retail, the marketer in the business develops and implements marketing campaigns to drive store traffic, increase sales, and promote products. Now, this is where I was stuck the most when I started my business, because my last job, if any of you guys follow my YouTube channel, or have been following my YouTube channel since the beginning, you know that my last job was as a store manager of a small business here in St. Louis. And that job gave me all of the responsibility of a store manager. Like, you would have thought it was my store, right? So I was the buyer, I was the person hiring and firing. I created our budgets, I created our goals for the month. I did all of that. But I did not understand marketing. I was figuring marketing out in real time. So, social media and the emails and all that and ads, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just completely and utterly experimenting. And it was fun because I wasn't spending none of my money to experiment. But when I started my own business, oh my word, I'm like, okay, so I got to spend money on ads, but my money, and that money may not come back to me. I don't think I want to do that. So I didn't run ads for, let me see. I didn't start running ads until November, December, like March or April. After I launched my business, so maybe like 5 months into my business. And it was, generally speaking, because I didn't understand the importance of advertising. I didn't understand the role that it played. So remember, I was saying it's important to have something or someone marketing for your business all day and all night. Because when I close my eyes, I close my eyes. That's it. But with an ad, my business is never closed. And there are always going to be people who are seeing what my business has to offer all day and all night. But if I'm only posting at 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. every single day, well, those are my windows of opportunity. I don't really like that. I wanted to make money all day and all night. So, and also I wanted to make money, outside of where I lived and so on, and have some control over who was seeing the content. So I started running ads. So the online equivalent is a digital marketer. Remember at the beginning, I described myself as a digital marketing expert, because let me tell you, one thing your girl gets these days is marketing. I understand it through and through, and there are not a lot of decisions that I don't make when it comes to marketing. I will try anything when it comes to marketing. Me getting on a live, marketing. Me running the ad, marketing. Me doing a photo shoot, marketing. I did a 6-episode docu-series, I think in 2021, marketing. I will try anything from a marketing perspective. If I got the money to do it, best believe I'm gonna try it. Me having a podcast, marketing. A YouTube channel, marketing. Emails, marketing. Text, marketing. So on and so forth. So you are a digital marketer, or the digital marketer in your business, who creates and executes online marketing campaigns using SEO, social media, email marketing, ads, and content marketing to drive traffic to your e-commerce site and increase online sales. Now, yes, this may be you right now. However, down the line, you can start hiring people for one-off jobs. So for example, for about 6, maybe like 5 or 6 months in 2022, I had somebody do my email marketing for me because I didn't have the capacity to do it. I've never had anybody do my social media, but I did have someone like managing like the responses and things of that nature. So I posted it. She handled all the communication, the DMs, the comments, so on and so forth. SEO is not my forte, so I hired an SEO agency to do some SEO work for me. So they went through my entire website. They input keywords in strategic places. They wrote blog posts for me so that I could increase my organic traffic. I think we worked together for 3 months, and then they went about their merry way. So I started to understand, like, okay, I understand the role and the purpose of these things, but that still didn't make me an expert at them. So I started letting my money work for me. So if I use the SEO as a example, I hired an SEO agency, and in those 3 months, I spent just under $10,000 on that. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all, that was one of them things I was like, there's a lot of money to be spending on something that I don't know is gonna work. Like ads, I can kind of see, what's happening here. I can see what I'm getting from my money. SEO is like, okay, I know you putting some keywords and stuff some places. I know you rearranging some navigation, writing some blog posts, honey, but when can I expect? And she was like, I mean, it can take a month, it could take 3 months, it just take, I don't, we, it's dependent on whether people are searching for those things. Long story short, I spent $10,000 on the SEO services, and I have not looked as of recently, but I want to say the last time I looked, I had made like $78,000, maybe like $86,000 from search engines because people are searching the things that they put on my website. Literally, I get visits to those blog posts that they wrote for me all the time. It's the craziest thing. So if I had never invested in it, I would not have collected so much revenue in organic sales or organic marketing, shall I say. So yes, you are that person right now, but as you continue in business, you can hire people to help you to do these things. And you can hire someone for very little money in all actuality. Like I was saying, I have team members that are stateside. I have team members that are in the Philippines. I have a accountant that's in Belize, so on and so forth. You can hire help. How do you recommend balancing hiring help, outsourcing if you're not yet making all the sales to consistently afford outside help? So I would hire in a place in your business that's revenue generating. So like email marketing, for example, or pay advertising. Probably not pay advertising because you got to pay them for their services plus pay for the ad. So I would say, for example, email marketing or social media, because we know both of those can generate sales, but a lot of their ability to generate sales is dependent on your ability to manage your inventory well, price it well, give them good content or good photography to work with. So I would just consider those things, but I would choose either emails or ads because usually email or social because you could probably get the best return on your investment there. That was a good question. All right, let's move on to the next role. So next is inventory manager. So the buyer and the inventory manager, they got two different roles. The buyer is the fun role. It's like, and it can be stressful if you're doing it strategically. Let me say that, because nowadays, I need a bottom, but I need a bottom that costs underneath a certain amount of money so that I can price it at a certain dollar amount. I don't just need a bottom. I need a bottom that is priced a certain way, which means I got to dig a little bit deeper. I got to have conversations with suppliers and ask for specific price points, which means I got to buy in certain quantities. It's a lot. But the inventory manager has a totally different job than the buyer. In retail, they oversee the stock levels, manage restocking, tracks inventory, and ensures there's enough product to meet demand without overstocking. And online, it's the e-commerce inventory manager who's monitoring the online inventory levels, managing stock replenishment, tracking inventory across multiple warehouses. We typically don't have multiple warehouses or fulfillment centers. If you do have a fulfillment center, you want to make sure you're keeping track of that, and ensuring accurate inventory data on your website. This is important. Inventory management, for a lot of people, they think that it's just counting or keeping count of inventory, but it's also measuring demand. So I always tell people one of the best things you can do is have a pre-launch strategy before you drop any new inventory. So sure, you've already bought it. Go ahead and photograph it. If you're dropping it on Wednesday, start promoting it on like Monday or Tuesday, and tell people to sign up for an email list to get notified about those products dropping. Now, the problem in that is that you don't want to drop too many things that makes it hard for you to measure what is the demand here for. So for example, let's say you're dropping 3 things or 3 styles. Ask people to sign up for an email list so that you can see how many people sign up for the email list before you launch it. This is going to help you to measure how many sales am I potentially going to get? Now, everybody's not going to buy. It's not a thing. We know we got conversion rates. So if you say, okay, I got 100 people sign up for our wait list for this product, and your conversion rate is only 3%, guess what? Potentially, not it's not set in stone, but potentially only 3 of these people are going to buy on launch day. Now you might get some sales trickle in over the days, but realistically, we might only get 3 people that actually buy this product. So now we can say, okay, well, I got 6, 3 people gonna buy. Cool. We still got 3 left over, and 3 may buy the next day. Cool. But you also get to say to yourself, well, if that's gonna occur, and like if you really, really believe that that's gonna occur, like let's say 3 people gonna buy every day, you might go buy some more inventory, because remember, it's not a good thing for you to be sold out. You end up missing out on money. So if I got 100 people who signed up and only 3% of them are going to buy on launch day, that's only 3 people. But these other people are probably going to trickle in day by day by day, but they can't trickle in and buy if I don't have no more. So measuring demand is so important. That is an element of inventory management that is often overlooked. And even having like restock alerts, that's important. If things sell out, if you're at a stage in your business where you don't have the capital to be able to invest heavily in inventory, that's fine. But create the opportunity for people to sign up for restock alerts so that you can measure the demand for that product. So before you go and spend your money on something new, it would be so much smarter to spend your money on the thing that you just sold out of, because you can clearly see how many people want that thing, right? What app on Shopify do you use to sign up? It's called Back in Stock Alerts, literally. It has an orange icon with like a circle in the middle. Back in Stock Alerts. So those are like the basics. Like them 4, I think that was 4. You got to figure them 4 out, because those 4 detrimental. Like at a minimum, buy the right inventory. At a minimum, keep the right inventory in stock. At a minimum, market that inventory well, please. Like, and obviously sell, give people the information that they need about that product. However, there are other roles that impact your ability to perform those 4 roles, starting with sales manager. So like I said, I started off as a sales associate like most people do in retail, and eventually I got a opportunity to become a sales manager, and that came with a new level of responsibility. So in retail, the sales manager often oversees a sales team or like a team of sales associates. They set or help to set sales targets sometimes, not always. They train staff, and they may ensure, or they have to ensure, excellent customer service. So my sales manager responsibility came with more responsibility as far as like what percentage of the store sales need to come from me. So in retail, before I read the online definition here, in e-commerce, I think about this more so from the standpoint of like the different marketing channels in my business being sales managers. And Jance, I may be responsible for like actually talking to people, maybe getting on live and things like that. And maybe I want like 30% of the sales to come from my efforts. But my email marketing software, there's a percentage of sales that I expect to come from it. But that means I got to market, right? That means I got to send an email. That means I got to send people through the flows and the automations. Text marketing, there's a percentage of the sales that I expect to see coming from you this month. What's the other ones? Facebook and Instagram, there's an expectation there. Ads, there's an expectation there. Those are my sales managers in my business. I am Jance, the store manager, all that good stuff. I'm also a sales manager, but so are y'all. Klaviyo and SMS Bump and Facebook and Instagram and Facebook advertising, they're sales managers as well. So online, the e-commerce sales manager may manage the sales team. So I manage Klaviyo and SMS Bump and Facebook and Instagram and all them people. I set my own sales goals, obviously, but I also have to analyze the sales data to set a strategic goal. I develop my own strategies to increase online sales and customer satisfaction. So I'm not sitting around waiting for someone to tell me, hey, you should try this thing or you should do this thing. I am actively experimenting. When I was a newer business owner, I wasn't sitting around waiting for sales. Like everybody always asks me what was my first year of business like or how much money did I make? And I always tell people it's not a great answer, but I always tell people I have no idea how much money I made because I was so busy experimenting. I understood that there was no corporate office hanging over my head, handing me a sales goal and telling me what to do. There was no manual. I had to create my own manual. And the only way that I could create that manual and create those processes was for me to take continuous action to see what occurred. So I was my sales team. I did not have a Klaviyo. I did not have an SMS bump or have a mobile app responsible for a percentage of the sales as well. I didn't have all of those things. So I had to actively be marketing all the time and just making decisions, sales and promotions and discounts, pricing decisions, inventory decisions to create processes that I could use, in the long term for the business. So, sales manager, you got to oversee a lot, and it's a lot. Then we got the store manager. So, this person manages the overall operations of the store, including the staff, the inventory, the sales, the customer service. So they just kind of like oversee it all. They also are hiring and firing and things of that nature. They're the person in charge of making sure the right people are on the team. Online, the e-commerce operations manager oversees the entire online store's operations, including website management, order fulfillment, customer service, and inventory management. So they aren't necessarily doing the things, they're overseeing them, making sure that they're working properly. So I think about this in terms of like me actually reaching out to my app developers when there's an issue, or me reaching out to see if there's a functionality that they can add because maybe I need something to work a little bit better, or I'm hoping that they could do this thing that they don't currently do. I'm managing the process, not the process. I'm managing more so the result attached to the tool or tactic that we're using. So I reach out to these apps all the time. If I need some, or if I have a question, I wanted to do something. Hey, is this something that y'all are thinking about? Is this something y'all considering? Y'all should consider this, because that is what a store manager would do. They are making decisions with the hopes that they can streamline or improve, let's say, the store's overall operations. They're looking at all the moving parts and making sure that they all work together seamlessly to get the results that the business wants. So these are the roles that I never ever had until I started a business. Now, I did do a little buying at my last job, but if I'm being honest, it wasn't the best buying. But it wasn't too strategic either. Marketing, I had to handle the social media, but I wouldn't quite call myself a marketer. Inventory manager, I wasn't managing that inventory at all. I was just like, hey, they gave me this little inventory budget. We're gonna make sure we spend that this month. And yeah, that's all I got. So I wanted to include these because, I constantly share with you guys that I worked in retail for a really long time, but there are roles that I did not have. There are roles that I did not know. And in all actuality, like even the ones that we've just gone through, I knew what my responsibility was when I worked in those roles, but I didn't understand how they impacted the overall result that the business got. I wasn't really thinking about any of that. I just knew, hey, this is my little 9 to 5, and it wasn't even a 9 to 5, child. It was like a 9 to 10, sometimes beyond that. It was ghetto. Okay. But I wanted to include that because I don't want anybody here to think I had it together from day one. I did not. I pieced it together thing by thing by thing. And as I made money, I spent that money in the right places. Y'all know how they say you got to spend money to make money. They don't just mean on inventory. They don't just mean on ads. They mean on people, processes, platforms, things that are going to help to make more money for your business. Okay. So I said we were going to talk about marketing a little bit, specifically the 4 P's of marketing. So this is known as the marketing mix. And this is one of those things that I didn't really learn about or that I learned about in college, because I took a lot of marketing classes, but I didn't really understand what we were talking about here. I didn't understand where or how or if this was going to come up in my life. And ironically, here it does. So there are 4 P's in marketing known as the marketing mix. And basically what it said that when these 4 work together and are right, your sales are pretty consistent. So the product is the physical thing that you sell, obviously. Your price is how much you sell it for. The place is where you choose to sell it, and the promotion is how you choose to sell it. So if we think about this in terms of retail, like I said, retail sales can be up and they can be down. They often aren't consistent. A lot of times the consistency is because one or more of these things is wrong or like just not as good as it could be. So for example, product, your pricing could be great, You could be promoting on the right platforms. You could be promoting it in a fantastic way. Content looks good and, video is great, but the product just might be wrong. Like they might be like, hey, I don't need that right now. Like I don't need a little two-piece mini skirt set. I don't need a sequin crop top. I don't need a swimsuit right now. So pricing is great. You promote it in the right place. You promoting it and it looks great, but they just like, I don't need it. Or it could be great product, wrong price. They're like, I love this thing. It's too expensive though. I'm gonna go see if it's on Shein. I'm gonna go see if it's on Amazon or Place. Your product is great, your price is great, your content's great, but you're promoting on TikTok, you need to be on Instagram. Are you on Instagram? You need to be on TikTok. Are you on Facebook? You need to be on Instagram, so on and so forth. Promotion. Now, your product could be great, your price could be great, you could be on the right platform. Content might be not so great. The way that you choose to promote your products may not be the best. So when all of these things work together, your sales become consistent. I want to say in the masterclass that I had with the conference attendees last week, I was telling them how not when I first started, but like I thought that I always needed to have a photo shoot and I needed to have the best model and so on and so forth. And then sweatpants became like my best selling piece of product, right? So that was my product. It was great. When I first started selling those sweatpants, I was selling them for $24.90. And I couldn't sell them to save myself. It was the craziest thing. Like my customers just did not buy them. So at the end of the year, I marked them down as part of my end of season sale. And because remember, sales are an important part of retail, marked them down to $9.99 because I just need to get rid of them. I think I paid like $6.50 for them. So I was making a little profit, not much. Sold out. I'm like, what? That's crazy. They sold out so fast. I had never sold anything so fast in my entire life. And of course, people get them, they love them. And now they're like, are you going to get more? Are you going to get more colors? I wish I had got the other color. Like, are you going to get more? And what that told me, initially, I was like, oh, I'm not getting any more. They only bought them because they're $9.99. But I had to tell myself, well, price in the 4Ps, price was the issue, I guess. They liked the product. They didn't like the price. So I decided to get those sweatpants again. Before I was getting ready to buy some new inventory, something totally different. And I said, you know what? Let me get those sweatpants again because people are actually asking for them. And instead of selling them for $24.90, I sold them for $19.90. And that became my best-selling products. In the entire year of, I think that was 2020, I think 2020. In that entire year, I sold 107 pairs of sweatpants. That was the year where I thought my customers didn't want them. And I sold 99 of the 107 in December. Crazy. In January, when I brought those sweatpants back with a $5 price difference, I sold 107 of them. Like literally, in a year, I sold 107. I decreased the price by $5 and I sold 107 in a month. The price was the issue. Fast forward, I'm continuing to sell the product. Now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna promote them on Facebook and Instagram. I don't think I had a TikTok at the time. I had Twitter. I would promote them on Twitter. And I think at the time I was still like putting them on myself. I was still my model. Eventually I got another model. I was doing like professional photo shoots and all that good stuff. And then one day I propped a stack of sweatpants up on a freaking bar stool. And lo and behold, I don't know why, but that is the right way for me personally to promote sweatpants. Sure, I can put them on my little body or my model's body, but I sell significantly more when they are on a bar stool. And I don't know why. I figured out down the line, it wasn't that I placed them on a bar stool. So before y'all go buy a bar stool, hold tight. It wasn't because I placed them on a bar stool. It was because of my intentionality around how I promoted them. So not only were they on a bar stool, they were on a pretty little clear bar stool, which kind of like stood out. But also I strategically and intentionally selected the colors every single time. So I would keep these sweatpants in stock, but I always had a specific color pattern or like a color assortment. And that captured people's eyes. It wasn't the fact that they were sweatpants, it was the colors that they loved, coupled with they were nicely stacked on a bar stool. So I just kept promoting that. So that became like a clear as day, consistent way for me to drive sales. I had a product, I had the right price, I was already promoting in the right place, and I had a clear understanding of how to promote them, and my sales maintained or stayed consistent as long as the vendor had them. And then, Y'all know the vendor ain't got them no more. So now guess what? Got to go form some new vendor relationships. Hate that for me. But yeah. All right. So that's what I wanted to share about marketing. Obviously, content and emails and texts and all that good stuff, they matter. But if you are the person that is currently sending emails and running ads and, you post consistently, but you're not getting the result that you want, 9 times out of 10, one or more of these things is wrong. And you got to figure out how to fix those elements in order to get your sales consistent and to get your marketing to work the way that you want. You're amazing. Thank you for being so open and transparent about what you've learned. Oh, my pleasure. It's fun for me. So let's talk about planning and buying. So planning, big component of being a business owner in general, but especially for retail, and buying. Obviously, we got to buy inventory and buy it in the right quantities and buy the right things. But this is also where a lot of online retailers fall short outside of marketing. Sometimes they're marketing, but it ain't right. But then they have the fact that it wasn't planned to begin with. And so the product they bought, they really didn't think about how they were going to market it. They didn't plan these things in advance. So you need retail planning. And of course, I'm here to tell you what that means and what that looks like. So retail planning is the process of developing a strategy for running a retail business to achieve specific goals and objectives. It involves analyzing market trends, understanding customer needs, forecasting sales, managing inventory, and creating marketing and sales strategies. Retail planning helps ensure that a retail business operates efficiently and meets the demands of its customers. So my students will tell you, for those of you guys who are in the Boutique Academy, my favorite thing to ask them is, what's your goal? Like, I don't want to hear nothing outside of what's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish here? Because the plan that you put into place should be backed by the goals. What are we trying to accomplish? So it is nearly impossible for a plan to be strategic if you don't know exactly what it was that you were trying to accomplish to begin with. So as the definition here states, it's a strategy created to achieve specific goals and objectives. So that means there's something in particular that you're trying to achieve. In order for you to achieve that, you need to analyze market trends, analyze what's happening in your own data. You need to understand who your customers are and what their needs or desires are. You need to be able to forecast what's going to happen. Forecasting in retail, looks like not just looking at what happened last month and believing that that's what's going to also occur this month, but also looking at the same period of time in the previous year to see how that played out. So remember, I was saying, like, spring and summer are not my, strong suit. It's just not where I make the most money. I learned that because in retail, they're using what happened in the previous year to plan for the current year, not just what happened in the previous month. So we're able to forecast what potentially is going to occur based off of looking at last year's numbers. Managing the inventory. So because I forecasted what I think is going to occur and I've looked at the data and I can see, this is how many I sold in bottoms and dresses and jumpsuits and so on and so forth last year, I can kind of make the assumption that I should be able to sell that much, if not more, if I plan the inventory accordingly in the current year. And then lastly, obviously creating the marketing and sales strategies with all of that in mind. So a lot of people buy the inventory first and then they figure everything out after the fact. You need to figure everything out first and then buy the inventory. A lot of times we end up in a financial hole and your business ends up becoming a financial burden to you because you didn't think about the business first. You thought about the inventory first. And the inventory, while yes, is the thing that we're going to make money from, you can't make money from something that you didn't strategically plan to sell. It's not a thing. You can't consistently. I won't say you can't. You can't consistently make money from something you didn't strategically plan to sell. So retail buying is the process of selecting and purchasing products to sell in your retail store or online shop. It involves understanding market trends, customer preferences, and financial constraints to ensure that the right products are available at the right time and the right price. Remember, product and price go hand in hand. So your data will tell you a lot about pricing in your business. If you look at your sales reports, let's say for even just last month, let's say, for example, if you take the total amount of money that you made and you divide it by the total quantity of products that you sold, that's going to give you a number called your AUR or average unit retail. And this is the average price point that you actually sold your inventory at in totality. Now, a better way to look at your AUR is those product category or those products broken down by category. So being able to see, this is how much I made from bottoms, this is how much I made from dresses, this is how much I made from jumpsuits, so on and so forth. And then you take the amount of money you made from that category divided by the quantity that you sold in that category, and that's going to tell you your average unit retail for that category. So imagine how much power you could have in buying if you now understand that customers like to spend about $25 for a dress than they do spending $47 for a dress. Because if your AUR, if you had a bunch of $47 dresses last month, but your AUR for the month for dresses was 25, that means that you sold the bulk of them when they were on sale. Some type of promotion or discount made your customer buy 47 is not their number. And now you can use that to your advantage and say, okay, well, if I can best sell a dress at $25, how much do I need to buy it at to be able to collect the amount of profit that I need from this situation? So remember, I was saying, like, my vendor doesn't sell my sweatpants anymore. I still have so much power because I understand my customers' preferences as it pertains to price. So as I've been sorting through, new vendors and things like that to get sweatpants from, I know how much money I'm looking to spend so that I can keep my price range within a price that works for my customers. I'm not gonna go buy a pair of sweatpants that cost as much as the price point that my customers would like to buy them at. That doesn't make sense, right? So retail buying takes some thought, it takes some strategy, and it also takes some reading some data. So these are the 4 things you want to consider when retail buying. Market research. Market research is one of them things that most people never do because they think it's something complex. But market research can be as simple as you talking to people. It could be as simple as you going into the mall and going in and out of the stores and making note of what products you see right now. What's the price range of those products? Comparing the price ranges of those products. That's an element of market research. I mean, if you're feeling ballsy, you could even talk to people in the store. Like if you see somebody pick up a product off a rack and it's a style that you're considering buying, you could be like, hey, I really like that dress too. Like, do you like the whatever functionality? Or you could even ask them like, hey, I noticed that you keep picking up the same type of dress. Now that might be a little creepy that you keep noticing that, but like you could say, hey, I'm opening a store soon, and I was wondering if I can ask you a couple questions really quick. I noticed that you keep picking up like ruffled dresses. I was wondering like what keeps making you pick those up, or like, is price a concern for you? You could just ask people how they feel. This could be your mom, your sister, your cousin, whoever. So studying market trends, competitor offerings, and customer preferences to identify popular and in-demand products. The ladies that are in my program, they know one of the activities I have them do in the program is go to your competitors or a brand that you are inspired by, go to their website and just look at the product categories and look at the highest price product and the lowest price product. Like you just filter the products from low to high and then high to low so that you have an understanding of how much they're able to sell a product for, how much they're not able to sell a product for, and then toggle it to best selling so that you can see what their best selling item is in that category and how much is that product. Easy market research, okay? Sales data analysis. You want to analyze your past sales data to understand what products have performed well and what hasn't, which is going to guide your future buying decisions. Like I said, if it ain't selling well, I'm not going to spend my money on it. If it's selling well, I'm going to keep spending my money on it. Easy. And pausing, I always say it's so important to determine for yourself if profit is your goal or if popularity is your goal. Personally speaking, I just want what's going to create the most profit in my business. So I am not concerned with like, what's it called? I'm not concerned with, getting the most likes or being the most popular boutique or being the first to get something. I don't care about none of that. All I care about is money in my bank. That's it. I don't need to show. I am at a place in business now where I don't care to show anybody my Shopify screenshot. All I care about is money in my bank. That is all. And the easiest way to prioritize money in the bank is make smart buying decisions, period. Okay. Vendor selection is important, and you can categorize your products in your backend by vendor so that you can see in your reports which vendors are actually not just generating the most sales, but generating the most profit, and also to see which ones are not making you any money so you can stop buying from them. For example, one of the vendors that a lot of the girls tell me that they just wish they had never started buying from because they just can't sell the merchandise because of the price is Latisse. I don't know if any of y'all have shopped with them before. Their price is just crazy. And for the quality, it don't, well, sometimes the quality be good, but it ain't often that great for the price that they want you to pay. So sometimes it's making better vendor decisions. You want to identify and evaluate potential suppliers based on their product quality, their pricing, their reliability, and their terms of service. So, for example, like I, not at this stage, but like in the back in the day, I need to know: do you got a return policy? Like, is there a restocking fee if I have to give this inventory back, or it don't fit, or it don't stretch, or it's damaged, or whatever? Like, what's the terms and conditions here? Because I ain't got no money to waste at this point. As I grew in business, I won't say I had money to waste, but there was things that weren't as much of a concern to me. Like if a vendor said, "Hey, we don't do," like for example, I bought maybe like $500 or $600 worth of inventory from Capella last year, I think. And when I got the inventory, I hated every single piece except for 2 things. So I kept 2 things. I shipped all of it back, and they don't do refunds, but I got like a $500 credit with them. And I'm like, I'm cool with that. That's fine. As long as y'all keep my little credit in the system, I'll be back at some point because I don't need that inventory right now. But when I need that inventory, I know where I can go to buy some inventory. Lastly is product selection. So you want to be able to negotiate with suppliers to get the best prices, even your payment terms, which isn't that easy when you're buying, domestically and, from the vendors in LA. A lot of them want their money today. But when you're buying overseas and things like that, some of them will allow you to have like net 30 terms and things of that nature. But you also want to coordinate delivery schedules and things of that nature as well. So those are things you want to take into consideration as the retail buyer in your business. Dang, I thought that was it. I got 4 more. Negotiation. We already talked about that. The last one should not have said product selection. It should have said negotiation. Order placement is placing orders with selected suppliers, ensuring that the quantities and delivery times align with your sales forecast and inventory needs. So remember, I was saying like strategically selecting products is important, or having a strategic plan is important, because you want to make sure that you're buying inventory with the plan in mind, not buying inventory and then creating the plan. So if I create the plan and I've mapped out the sales and I've mapped out like, the promotions I want to do and the overall marketing, well, then I can use that to kind of forecast when I think sales will occur most in my business, and then work backwards and say, now I can think about buying and delivery times. So I used to, like I said, log into Fashion Go every day. Sometimes I was buying stuff every day. I didn't need every inventory every day. Like I was emotionally attached to the idea of me missing out on inventory. I'm like, oh, I just know everybody gonna get this. I got to get this before it's sold out. But I didn't need that inventory. I didn't need it in the moment. I could have waited to buy something else the next month or the next week or whatever. So when I started to plan in advance, I was able to clarify for myself, you don't need no inventory today. You don't need any inventory to this week or next week, because you have plenty. And we've planned for, new arrivals to occur on this day, but we also plan for a promotion to occur on this day. And if things go as planned, we should have made this amount of money, which means that we'll have this amount of money to spend on inventory. And in that way, I don't end up having to buy like, 1 pack of something. I have enough money to buy 3 packs of something potentially, because I've already, met my goals here. Fashion Go is dangerous, my nemesis. I hear that. Inventory management. So obviously monitoring your inventory levels to ensure that stock is replenished in a timely manner without overstocking. Can I just say, an element of financial management is you keeping money available for restocks. So I used to have these moments where, because we're managing different roles. So like as a salesperson, I was doing the dang thing. We sold out, we made that money, but I bought inventory too often. Remember, I'm saying like I'm logged in the Fashion Go. I done bought some inventory today. I don't know when it's coming. I think it's gonna come next Monday or whatever. It's gonna be here in 7 days. But then the inventory I just dropped, I just sold out. I got 18 restock alerts, and I can't afford to buy the restock today because I spent money on inventory already today. So now I got to wait for Shopify to give me my little deposit so I can go and restock this inventory. And by the time I go back to restock this inventory, it's gone. I have not managed my inventory well. I have done an absolute trash job. So when I was saying like my accountant got me to a point where I was budgeting and putting money aside for the appropriate reasons, one of those being inventory. Every 2 weeks, I would go into my revenue account and I would allocate my revenue into these accounts for different purposes. So 35% of whatever's in the revenue account would go into my inventory account. And that became money I could spend on inventory at any time. But it humbled me and also gave me discipline because I no longer was buying every day. And now I was saying to myself, oh, I always have money to restock something or get something new because I have an inventory account. This money is here for inventory. So I no longer, like nowadays, if I sense something that something's about to sell out, I'm on my phone with my vendor that same day, like, hey, how many of these do you have left? Cool. Can I get 3 more packs of it? Cool. Can you ship it out today? Yes. Okay. Can you send me the tracking label? Got it. Okay, I'm restocking this today. I'm literally able to send a message to my email list or text list or post on social media and say, hey guys, we're so sorry that sold out super fast, but we were able to get more. Yay. Go ahead and buy. I was able to keep my sales consistent because I had money in the bank to be able to keep my sales consistent. Rosin said, I started when it was okay to oversell. Now it's a nightmare. Oh yeah. I can imagine. Do you use your own label? My own label, like in my clothing? No. I've never had my own labels in my clothes ever. I don't think I ever will, personally. Nope. All right. The last thing I have here is shipping with the no, I don't. I don't use it my own. I usually just ask them to tell me what the shipping is going to be beforehand. So budgeting as a retailer, this is an important one because money is money. It's important. And if you're still in the stage of business where, your job funds your business, like you still want to be careful about it. Like I find that when people got a job, sometimes they're a little bit more, they give themselves a lot more freedom with how they spend their money in the business because they're like, I don't have to make money in the business. I can still have fun. And like I want you to still have fun, but I also want you to be strategic because I always tell people like we don't know, we can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. So so someone's job could close. That's what happened to me. My last 2 jobs literally closed. Now, granted, I hadn't started my business yet, but imagine if I had started my business already, my job closed. I was using my job to fund the business. Now I ain't got no money in the business or a job to give me money to keep funding the business or to pay my bills. I look crazy. So another element of me working with my accountant was not just putting money aside for inventory, but putting money aside for owner's pay. So there is a percentage of my money that is budgeted to be paid to me. And I don't be paying myself sometimes. I just sit it in a little bank account because I got 2 businesses, thank the Lord. But yeah, that changed my mindset because as crazy as it sounds, we tell ourselves we're our own boss, but we don't pay ourselves. That don't make sense. Like it could be the smallest amount of money, but you should pay yourself. It's yours. You worked hard for it. You performed a lot of jobs to get that money. So literally, like if I have I pay myself 9% of my sales, which you can choose what percentage you want to pay yourself. That's totally up to you. I pay myself 9%. And so if I look at my inventory account, not my inventory, if I look at my revenue account at that 2-week point and it says that $100 is in there, 9 of those dollars is mine. I'm going to go to the movies or something. I don't know. I got $9. That is mine. I earned that $9. Okay. Listen, I'm not playing. That's mine. You should pay yourself. It's important. Because it's your business and CEOs get paid. I don't know. I don't know how else to explain this to you. CEOs get paid. So let's talk about retail budgeting. The process of creating a financial plan for a retail business, detailed expected revenue and expenses over a specific period of time, usually monthly, quarterly, or annually. It involves forecasting sales, estimating costs, and setting financial targets to ensure the business operates efficiently and profitably. So as regular human beings, when we hear the word budget, we think saving. We're like, I am budgeting to be able to save for this thing. I'm budgeting so I can buy my house. I'm budgeting so I can get a new car. I'm budgeting to send the kids to college, so on and so forth. And retail budgeting, you're typically budgeting for money to be spent. So we're budgeting that we're going to spend 20% of our revenue here. And we're budgeting that we're going to make whatever percentage of our revenue from here. And we're going to spend this amount on marketing. We're going to spend this amount on team. We're going to spend this amount on ads, so on and so forth, right? So we don't often think about that. We only think in inventory. And them ads, they be random. Facebook said, hey, this piece of content is performing really well. You should boost it. And here you go, pushing the boost button. That wasn't a part of the plan. So budgets are financial or the financial representation of a company's strategic plan. Retail budgets are tools for allocating financial resources and guiding your day-to-day operating decisions. So once I got a good hold over the money that I was making, no matter how big or small, I was able to make more confident decisions about what to do with the money because I understood that, like, some people are holding on to their money. They're like, oh my God, I can't spend this money. And other people like, I'm gonna spend this money because it's gonna come back to me. But you don't know if that money's gonna come back to you. You don't know how quickly it's gonna come back to you. So there needs to be balance when making financial decisions, and there needs to be a budget put in place. So this is an example of what a retail budget might look like. Typically, you're going to have your revenue streams. Sometimes it'll just say like online store at the top. In my business, my budgets are broken down by, I think I have no, I don't have a screenshot. If you guys remind me, I'll show you a screenshot of what it looks like in my business. In mine, we have the product categories at the top. So like bottoms, tops, dresses, so on and so forth. And all of the months are across the top. So we're planning for whatever amount. So in this one, clothing in July, 12,978 from clothing, 3,245 from accessories, 4,300 from footwear, 1,082 from others, and their total revenue will be 21,630. So they are budgeting for where the money is going to come from. But then at the bottom, there is where the money is going to be spent. So they know that $3,000 is the rent, $2,000 for payroll, $1,000 for utilities, $1,400 for insurance, $600 miscellaneous. And these are your fixed expenses. Fixed expenses are the ones that don't change. They're just the same. So like rent, you don't control it. Your landlord does. It's the same. Payroll, if your team is on a salary or if they have a set pay, it's the same. So you want to know what those set expenses are in your business, because you could be setting a goal to make $5,000, but you got expenses that are $2,000. That doesn't make sense. You need to figure out how to make some more money, or you need to cut some expenses, which is where your variable expenses come into play. So your variable expenses are the ones that fluctuate, they change, you have some control over. So merchandising, $1,400, marketing, $1,000, others, $1,600. So like advertising, for example, that's a variable expense. You chose how much money you were going to spend. You can choose to turn them off, you can choose to scale back, or you can choose to scale up. That's controllable. So when you know that there is, when you know that, like, let's say, for example, you're not making the money that you wanted to make or that you thought that you were going to make, sometimes you need to figure out where to decrease an expense, and sometimes you need to figure out where to increase an expense at the end of the day. Those are important things to consider. So in a typical budget and or a profit and loss statement, it's going to show you your total expenditures, which is the total amount you plan to spend. So that's going to be your total fixed expenses combined with your total variable expenses. In this example, is $12,000. And you're taking your total planned revenue minus your total planned expenses, which tells you what your gross profit likely is going to be, $9,590. Then you got to take taxes out. Taxes are important. We got to pay them. And in this example, it's just $240. So their net profit, which is money they should expect to be in the bank at the end of this, if they sell the way that they intend to sell, is $9,350. We don't typically plan that way because we only think in inventory. We're like, I have this amount of inventory. I know that I bought this amount or bought it from this amount. I know I priced this amount. So if I sell it, this is how much money I make. But they never take out the ads and the influencers and the photo shoots and the models and the shoes that you bought to go with the outfit and the makeup that you got done, so on, and your nails, all that stuff, the photo shoot location. All of those are expenses that need to be, like, you can plan those things ahead of time. Like if you know you're going to do a Valentine's Day shoot, or if you know you're going to do a Christmas shoot or whatever, or a Black Friday shoot, plan it in advance. You can literally go and create you a table right now and say, okay, this is what our goal is for whatever month. I know that I'm going to spend this amount every single month on Shopify or on Klaviyo, on whatever, or my photo shoots are this amount every month. I pay my models this amount every month. My insurance, if you have insurance, is this amount every month. Those are my fixed expenses. And then you can say, for variable expenses, I'm going to give myself this amount to spend on ads, this amount to spend on influencers, so on and so forth, so that you can pre-plan in your brain money that should be in the bank if things play themselves out the way that you want them to. It's actually not that hard. You just got to sit down to do it. That's all. And I find that the hard part for most people is that they don't actually want to have honest conversations with themselves about where the money is going and how the money is being spent. But I promise you, it will make a world of a difference in your business in the long term. This is so helpful. You're welcome, Faith. Is this a custom template you offer in your coursework? There is a profit and loss statement template in my membership that will help you to map kind of this out, not to this extent. But we do a quarterly planning session, and actually we're doing our next one on Tuesday of next month, and I'm not next month, I'm sorry, of next week, and they'll get a new planning template to use for the quarter. So this is an example from my business. This is the type of data that may be used to create the inventory part of your budget. So this is from 2020, or a comparison of 2021 to 2022. And 2022 was when like the economy started to take a little turn, like right, it just wasn't good, right? So in 2021, I sold a total of 22,256 total items. Remember I was saying you can calculate your average unit retail. So my average sales per unit was $22.75. On average, that's how much I collected from selling a product. My average shipping income per unit was 98 cents. So that meant I was making a little bit of a profit on shipping based off of how my shipping was set up, or my shipping rates were set up. But that means that I was getting a bigger discount on shipping because of the volume that I was shipping inventory out. The average discounts per unit was $2.12. So your reports will show you not just your sales, but also the amount of discounts that you gave out in whatever duration of time. You can see gift cards. I didn't have too many gift cards, but there was about $71 in 71 cents in gift cards per unit. And then refunds were averaging about 56 cents. So once you take out all of the like shipping income, discounts, gift cards, so on and so forth from the average units retail, I was up at $20.33. That number is important because we got to consider how much I was spending on average per item. And I'm showing y'all honest numbers because this is what actually things be looking like in retail, right? So on average, after all of that, I was left with about $20.33. Well, my total average cost of goods per unit was $13.39. So my gross profit per unit, which is my income minus the cost of goods, was $6.94. That was about what was left over. So when I started with this $22.75, it's like, oh, Shopify says I made $22.75. But once we take out all the discounts and sales and promotions and and X, Y, and Z, $6.94 left over. But then we have operating expenses. Those are the things I was just telling you guys that we don't be factoring in. Me, I had rent, utilities, team, accountant, inventory strategist, so on and so forth. My expenses were coming out to about $8.55 per unit sold, which is more than what I had left over in gross profit. So my loss, I was losing money per unit sold. It was $1.61. And then in 2022, it didn't get better because the economy was changing, the inventory was changing, and it was harder. So in 2022, I sold 13,000. Wait, before I say this, you might be like, wait a minute. So you didn't make no money? No, I made money. Everybody got paid because we often think in money terms of like the Shopify screenshot. We're like, oh, Shopify says I made X amount of dollars. And if I don't have anything close to that in the bank, then I must be failing. I wasn't feeling that bad though, because if I looked at my sales like month over month and where the fluctuations occurred, I was able to identify where I was losing money and where I was making the most money. And it helped me to plan accordingly for the next year to be able to decide like how I wanted to allocate inventory, how I wanted to price things, so on, and also to just more specifically identify the areas of opportunity, right? So my loss per unit increased in 2022. However, I made a lot of very great decisions in 2022 that impacted my 2023 and made my 2023 profitable. So in 2022, up until November 30th, this was until the end of the year, I had sold 13,087 products. My average sales per unit was $21.90. I was collecting $2.08 on average for shipping. So I was collecting even more on shipping, but my discounts increased. So I was offering more discounts to keep the cash flowing. My gift card decreased to 16 cents. So that was cool. And my refunds also decreased to 36 cents. So my total income per unit increased by 10 cents. So it went from $20.33 to $20.43. My total cost per goods decreased. It went from $13.39 to $11.29. So up until there, everything was good. My gross profit went from $6.94 to $9.14. My problem was in operating expenses. I did everything right, everything that I was supposed to do from an inventory perspective. I priced it appropriately. I did offer more discounts, but they were strategic, and it ultimately impacted my ability to make more per unit and also increased my gross profit per unit. So, but I spent too much to do that. So I spent, like, I think 2019, 2020, 2021. Yeah, 2022 was the first year where I did like a photo shoot every single month. So that was, I think I was spending like maybe like $900 a month on photo shoots. I ran ads consistently every single month because I wanted to grow my audience and grow my email list, which I did, which played a huge role in my sales in 2023. So I spent a lot of money to grow the business, not necessarily to grow the sales, the bank account. So when people ask me like how to grow their business, a lot of times they mean like, how do I grow my Shopify screenshot? But when you think about growing a business in retail, you really want to think about like growing your customer base. So I spent more money to grow my customer base and to improve the overall like look and feel of my business. So my operating expenses went from $8.55 to $12.17, which meant I was losing now $3 per unit. So compared to $1.61 per unit. So, but at the end of the day, I still was able to pay all my bills, pay my team. Nobody went without. I did everything I was supposed to do. I just spent too much, and from a marketing perspective in that year. And that's what's most important as a business owner, in my opinion. You know, there's a lot of people on the internet that just flash the money in your face, but they don't tell you how they made the money, and they also don't tell you where they went wrong, and they don't tell you how they could have fixed it. I am not afraid to tell you where I went wrong, what mistakes I made, what I did right, how and what I did to fix it in the long term. Okay. So if you ever see somebody that says to you, like, you know, if you're not profitable, then what are you doing it for? Like, you're doing it because you're learning, you're figuring it out. And ultimately, your mistakes are what you use to make your business better in the long term. I promise you, it will make a world of a difference in the long term. So budgets are needed because it gives you financial control. You don't go spending all willy-nilly. It helps maintain control over the financial aspects of the business, which ensures that spending aligns with available resources. So once I started to really understand my numbers, I gained financial control. I was no longer just spending because I had it and spending because everybody else got new arrivals and I need new arrivals and everybody's got this thing and I want this thing. I now understood the impact of me spending money on things randomly. I didn't want to do that anymore. It helps with profitability in the long term. So a well-planned budget helps maximize profitability by monitoring costs and optimizing revenue. And resource allocation, it ensures that resources are allocated effectively to different areas of the business, such as marketing, inventory, and ultimately operations in the long run. Kelsey said, thanks for providing us valuable information on how to grow our business. I'm not in the greatest financial place at the moment, but when things change, I'll be joining your membership. This is the first free webinar I've attended that has been as informative as you. Oh, you're welcome. That's awesome. I'm glad to help. So let's see. So budgets are also needed because they help you measure your performance. So if I didn't have a budget to go off of in the beginning, I would have looked at those numbers that I just read to y'all and be like, oh my God, I'm failing. I'd have been like, why am I doing this business if I'm losing $3 per transaction or per item sold? But because I had a budget that we started the year with, not only was I able to look and say, well, these are all the months that did great. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. The numbers worked out exactly how they were supposed to. And I was able to identify the months where I went wrong. I'm like, girl, you overspent on inventory. You overspent on ads. You did 2 photo shoots in that month. For what reason? I don't know. I was able to pinpoint where I went wrong, which ultimately helped me to improve my performance in the long term. So provides benchmarks for measuring the financial performance of the business, making it easier to track progress and make informed decisions. Risk management. It identifies potential financial risks and allows for the development of strategies to mitigate them. So now that I know what happens when I spend this on this, I now can mitigate that in the future. Decision making, it aids in making informed decisions regarding spending, investments, expansions, and other financial commitments. So, for example, I have a great example for you here. So I know my expenses, I know the impact of my expenses, I know what's fixed, I know what's variable, so on and so forth. So last year, 2023, the end of 2022, I moved out of my office into a office that was 3 times the size of my other one, because based off of how we planned the year, it was supposed to go great. But it also meant that I was going to need more space to house inventory. So we moved, and it was a hell of an instance of a move. Like, everything that could go wrong just kept going wrong. When we first moved in, we moved in the winter. Our heat didn't work for like the first 4 or 5 months of the what's it called? The lease. It didn't work. So I'm like, y'all expect us to work in these conditions? We can't. So they had been looking for this piece for like the furnace or something for so long. My landlord basically didn't care. And ironically, it was the same landlord as my previous office. It was just very odd. Thankfully, I had money in the bank to, continue to uphold my financial obligations. But I got to the point where I'm like, I shouldn't have to uphold my financial obligations if I can't actually use the space in the way that I want. So fast forward, once we stopped paying the rent, they were like, "Oh, okay, we found the piece magically. We'll get that fixed ASAP." They fixed that, and now we're in the summer, and our air doesn't work. So we went a month without working air. So basically, like the first 6 months of us being in this new space, we didn't have no heat, no air. It wasn't a thing, but I still had to pay for that. But our finances were impacted by that because we had an expectation to use that space in a way that was to help us generate revenue, and we weren't able to use it. So fast forward to this year, I decided that I was going to move back to my old office, the first one that I was in, which decreased my expenses, my fixed expenses. My rent was, when I first got my warehouse, it was $1,400. The new one that I moved into was a little bit over $3,000. And then we just moved back to my old office, which took me back to a $1,400 rent payment. So now I have an extra $1,700 in my bank that I can use every single month. So I am, like I said, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, if I'm not growing and if y'all can't see it, then I'm not growing. I'm like, girl, I'm trying to keep my bank account where it need to be. I'm trying to keep my profits where it need to be. I want to spend my money where it makes sense. So I literally got out of my lease. I don't want to say I begged. I had to stalk my landlord to get out of this lease. It was ridiculous. But I got out of that lease. I saved money, thank the Lord, and I'm in a better financial position because I was able to make a financial decision. So I say all that to say that having the budget helps you make decisions. When I looked at my budget for 2024 and looked at how much I was projecting to spend in rent for the year, $36,000, a little bit over $36,000. I was like, I don't want to spend $36,000 on rent. Let me go move back. Let me go find me another situation so I can keep some of this money to myself. Lastly is cash flow management. You need cash. Like I was saying, we can avoid sales and discounts and all that good stuff all we want, but at the end of the day, your business needs cash. Cash is king. I don't know if y'all have ever heard that. Cash is king. Your Shopify screenshot is cool, but if there's no cash in the bank, I mean, who cares about a screenshot? So having a budget helps manage cash flow, ensuring that the business has enough cash flow to meet its obligations and avoid financial shortfalls. So if I'm planning to make, what's this, July? If I'm planning for August to be my best month ever because I'm about to sell $40,000 worth of inventory, but I don't have enough money in the bank to buy my $40,000 worth of inventory, I need to get some of the money back in the inventory that is currently sitting. And the easiest way to do that is to run a sale or offer a promotion at the end of the day. So it's really important that you don't get emotionally attached to the tangible things that you can see in your business, and get attached to the data, get attached to your goals and things of that nature. So obviously, we've talked about a lot. You might be like, how the heck are these retailers making money consistently with all of the, or not even retailers, like you may follow a boutique owner or a hair extension company or a skincare company or whatever, and you might be wondering, how are they making money consistently? It looks like they're running this business alone. Like, what are they doing? Well, outside of those 4 P's, working together and doing the Lord's work, these are 6 things that I would say you just want to make sure you have figured out for yourself. So effective inventory management, making sure you actually know what that means and what it looks like to manage your inventory effectively. Competitive pricing strategies, so not just pricing for the sake of pricing, but pricing with your goals in mind, with your customer in mind, with the competition in mind, so on and so forth. Building strong customer relationships. The stronger the relationship is with the customer, the easier it is for you to get them to keep coming back and also to get them to recommend your business to other people. Marketing and promotions, self-explanatory. You got to market, but market well. Cost controls. You can sell all the inventory you want, but if your expenses, as I just showed you, are not what they need to be, the money is going to be funny. So you got to manage your costs, your expenses. And then lastly, adapting and experimenting. Don't ever get too stuck in what exists. Like I always look at the girls that have that, that one backdrop that they always use or that one place that they always take pictures. But then they'll tell me like, I'm not getting the result that I want, or my content isn't performing the way that I thought that it would. But they never think like, let me just do something different. Let me find a new set. Let me get a new backdrop. Let me go somewhere else. Let me get a new model, so on and so forth. So being willing to adapt and experiment is super important as a business owner. So how exactly can you balance it all? Well, it's nearly impossible. I'm not gonna lie to you. Every day somebody asks me, like, Jens, how do you do it all? And I always say with my calendar and this God, like I will not lie to y'all. I'll be hanging on by a thread sometimes, but I do it, and I've continued to do it for almost the last 6 years. And I will be the first to tell you, like, it's hard work. There's a lot of jobs for one person to do, which is why I focus on actually growing the business and treating it like a business. I feel like when you are in the mindset that your business is just your business and it's going to be just you in the business for the rest of your life, that gives side hustle energy. And that's okay. If that's what your intentions are, then let it be that. But if business is what you are thinking about, it is important that you be thinking about and planning for your future as it pertains to growing the business with a team helping you to grow the business, not just you slaving for it. Okay. So what's most important is that you're focused on actively learning, because there is a lot to learn. There's a lot of things that we may have talked about today that you've never heard about, you never thought about, you didn't know you needed to know. And I can tell you that as someone who worked in retail for a very long time, there was a lot of things I had not thought about. I would be lying if I said I had figured out when I first started. So, of course, as always, you can learn how to do these things inside of the Boutique Academy. We cover things pertaining to marketing and sales and promotions and inventory and so on and so forth. Myself and the community are there to help you and answer any questions that you may have and to support you in your endeavors. And I forget who I was saying to earlier, but we have our quarterly planning session next Tuesday, July 9th. And we do this quarterly planning session, obviously, every quarter. So this one will be our next quarterly planning session. And then after that will be our annual planning session, where we'll plan for 2025, which is crazy. But during these sessions, I teach you how to review your data. I teach you how to set strategic goals and then ultimately create a plan of action for you to meet those goals. So it is a lot easier to create a plan when there's more than one person there to help you like figure it out. And when there's somebody there to help you dissect the data, because there's a lot of data to read. But in the quarterly planning sessions, I give my students access to different tools and resources that will help them plan. The membership is $29 for your first month. It's $47 after that. And this is the website. I'll drop it in the chat if anybody's interested in joining. And if you have questions, let me know. But I'll show you guys the inside of the membership. Actually, no, I'll show you guys some of the resources that you'll have access to for the quarterly planning session. And then I'll show you the inside of the membership if anybody wants to see it. So 2 seconds. Let me know if anybody has any questions about anything we discussed today. This has been quite fun for me. Let's see, quarterly, don't mind my, what's this thing called? It's a lot. How often do you have meetings for Boutique Brand School? Also, at what time? I ask because I'm currently running my business myself while still working 9 to 5, not using it as an excuse. So we have our live Q&A, which is typically the middle of the month. So I think ours this month is on the 12th of July. And all of our meetings are typically in the evenings. Every blue moon, we might have a morning one, but they're usually in the evenings around 6 Central, which is 7 p.m. Eastern. I think our quarterly planning session starts at 5 Central, which is 6 Eastern. But most of them are in the evening and they're all recorded, so you can go back and watch them. Even like our past quarterly planning sessions, you can watch. Will the slides be available for review? Yeah, I'll try to remember to include the slides. I'm gonna definitely send you guys the replay. But yeah, most of our calls are in the evenings. You're welcome, Carissa. My pleasure. So these are some of the tools that they have access to in the community already, but during our quarterly planning sessions, we go through them together. A lot of the ladies inside of the group already have access to these, so they fill them out for the entire year, and now they're actually going back to see how they're performing against what they planned. So for example, this is the primary tool that we start the year with. So you put in what percentage of your sales came from each month of the year, and then you put in your goals, and it'll map out how much money you should expect to come from each month of the year. So for example, if 1% of the sales came from January and you were striving to make $500,000 in the upcoming year, that will be $5,000 from January. If it's 3% in February, that's $15,000 from February, so on and so forth. And then we also have this retail calculator. So once you've mapped out the goals, then you can map out how much money you want to, you put in how much money you want to make, what your current conversion rate is, what your desired average order value is, and it'll map out like how many orders you need, the number of sessions you need, all that good stuff. I'm very big on just calculating it out versus writing it out, child. I don't got time for all that. Let's see. We also have this business scorecard. So this is more so for keeping track of what's going on in your business on a quarterly basis. So we would start a new one this quarter, not this coming quarter, this quarter. So this is just for keeping track of your business week by week, which I find that most people don't do. So you are putting in your sales, obviously. You're putting in how many email subscribers you gained, how many orders you got week by week. And it just makes it that much easier for you to come back at the end of the quarter. Well, obviously at the end of the month, but also at the end of the quarter to see what occurred in your business. And also to identify like where your areas of improvement were. Let's see what else we got in here. There is a price and profit calculator. So if you want to go ahead and put in your products by category, what your average unit retail was, your desired margin, and then it'll calculate what your gross profit would need to be and what your cost of goods needs to be. So a lot of times we do it the opposite way. We just buy the inventory, choose the margin, so on and so forth. But I like for them to think through what their cost of goods should have been or needs to be if these are their desired numbers. If they desire to have an average unit retail of this amount and a margin of this amount, they need to know how much money they need to spend on that inventory. So this is the price and profit calculator. And I think the only other one is the retail math calculator, which is for you breaking down your sales by sales channels. So remember I said that I use the sales channels for sales managers in my business. So these are my sales managers: Instagram, Facebook, email, text. If you have a brick and mortar or a POS or a mobile app, making sure you allocate that revenue goal across those. So if I put in, or actually this one you put in where the sales came from, and then the bottom is going to put in how the sales need to play out for the quarter or whatever date time frame that you're working within. So yeah, these are all inside of the program. Faith said, what's the difference between the course and the monthly membership? Are the calculators and scorecard in the membership? This is in the membership. They're in the course as well, but these are in the membership. So well, actually, I don't know which course you're referring to. So I have self-paced courses, which are just like on your own, and they're about different topics. So I have like an ads course, I have a Shopify course, an email course. So none of those have these in them. My program, which is like my coaching program, they do have access to these spreadsheets, as well as like full-blown workbook. So like, let me show you the workbook for the program. So let's see. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called Ultimate Workbook. So yeah, it depends on every resource or every course and program, so on and so forth. They have their own resources attached to them. So the program is 11 modules long, and every single module has its own workbook attached to it. So these are all of the workbooks all in one document, and the table of contents over to the left or the table of contents for the workbook. So this workbook literally goes on like 128 pages. This is your whole business in a workbook. Whereas the membership is like some classes, some resources, you're piecing it together as you go. The program is like, we're going to do this whole business in this program. Step by step by step, the goals, the finances, the inventory, the pricing, the customer, the website, so on and so forth, the branding. I don't know what else I'm forgetting. The marketing, the content, everything is in one place. Rochelle said, I got a ton of information today that is transferable to my online candle retail store. I love that. Is the membership geared mainly towards boutiques? It is not. It is geared towards e-commerce and product-based businesses in general. There is nothing in there that's like, if you sell clothes, this is for you. It is purely sales. It is retail-based. I'm excited for quarterly planning. I am too. It's renamed Ultimate Workbook. I have the e-commerce elementary. This one is in the, well, no, they have, all of their workbooks are still broken up. This is just for my own sake to have it all in one place. Need the program accountability. I'll put the links in the chat for you guys. Will you sell a workbook? I will not. It comes with lessons attached to it. And the workbook would make no sense if you didn't have the lessons attached to it. Let me put the link to the membership in the chat for anybody that might be interested. This is the link for the membership. This is the page for the membership. So if you land on this page that you're looking at right now, you're in the membership, or you're on the membership page. I will show you guys the inside of the membership. And, oh, we changed the password. Let's see. Let's hope that that's the password. Only God knows. Okay, that's the password. So this is the inside of our membership. It's not a Facebook group. I know y'all be in a lot of groups that be on a Facebook channel. One thing about me, I cannot keep up on a Facebook. I got enough going on over there. So this is our main feed, our home. So this is where you can see like an overview of everything that's going on inside of all of the spaces. And then on the left-hand side is where you can go into the individual spaces based off of what you're looking for. So you start here. This is where our like introduction to the membership is and how to navigate things and all that good stuff. Introduce yourself. This is where those resources and downloads live. This is where all the chatting takes place. This is our live Q&A feed. So every month we have a live Q&A and they just drop their questions here and I go through them one by one and answer them on a live Zoom call. This is where you can see all of our upcoming events. They will be listed here for you to RSVP. There's a little mini course for the people that are starting out. And everything else in here is like trainings about a multitude of topics. So this is a full social media ads course. Those are all the topics. These are our digital marketing lessons, all the things, content lessons are in here. It's also in course format. Sales strategy, office hours replays, miscellaneous, quick little how-tos. I always get like how-to questions every day. And then this is my favorite section, the guest experts. So remember I was saying like, sometimes you can't afford to hire all these people at once. Well, the membership has guest experts to teach you them things. So like the person that I paid $10,000 for SEO, she has done 2 guest expert sessions in the membership and just walked them through the things that she did for me. They didn't have to pay her $10,000. They paid $47 for a membership and got $10,000 worth of information, which makes me feel like a crazy person because I paid $10,000 for it. But she came in here twice. So these are all our marketing expert replays. So we had campaigns, SEO, emails, marketing, customer retention, branding, Pinterest systems, rebranding, Instagram, so on and so forth. My accountant has been in here, content experts, my accountant, taxes, credit, funding, so on and so forth. Darlene, who I mentioned, did my inventory strategy. She's been in here. If you're interested in manufacturing, mindset, SOPs, hiring your first employee, all of that's in there. There's so many things. So yeah, if anybody has any questions about it, let me know. Dana said I need the program accountability. So my program is called E-commerce Profit Plan. And I don't know if it's live. Hold on, let me go see if I can find the link. I'll put it in the chat for you guys. The program is live coaching, and we meet every 2 weeks. So we meet weekly, but we have our coaching calls every 2 weeks, and then we have like analytics class. We'll have a workshop, so like email marketing, ads, depending on what everybody needs at the time. I have a co-coach in there. Her name's Brianka. She is a marketing strategist. I've also worked with her in the past, so now she coaches inside of there with me. So she helps the ladies with their marketing strategies, their funnels, their automations, things of that nature. And that program has lifetime access, so you never lose access to it. And I don't know what else I need to tell you. There's 11 modules in there. Let me find the link. I'm very bad at multitasking. So let me find the link. I'll put it in the chat. And when I send the replay to you guys, I'll put the links for the membership in the program in there as well. If anybody is interested at a later date, I'll put them in there. Let's see. I think the page is hidden. Let me find it. 2 seconds. Yeah, it's definitely hidden. Let me publish it so I can share the link with y'all. Okay, I think I got it. The Boutique Academy / Blueprint. Oh, that is not the link. Hold on, y'all. Oh, okay, I found it. Hold on. 2 seconds. That is definitely not the link. It's this one. Let me find the proper link for you guys. Okay, here we go. Make sure this is the right one. Okay, I found it. There you go. So I'll put this in the chat for you. Let me go back up. I have a Boutique Academy login. Can I find it there? No, it won't be on there. So this program is $24.97, $2,497, which is a large difference between a $29 or $47 membership. So the biggest difference is the accountability and the extensiveness of what you're learning. In the membership, things are more broken up and they're more like it's more of a place for you to learn at your own pace. That's what I'll say. So there is like, live Q&As, guest experts and things of that nature, but it's more of a space for you to learn at your own pace and do what you want to do as you want to do it and learn what you want to learn as you want to learn it. Whereas the program is like, hey, this is where you're going to start and this is where you're going to end. We're going to meet on a regular basis. You can expect to see me on this schedule at these times, and I'm going to make sure that you knock out all of the parts of your business that you need to knock out, not just the parts that you felt like you needed in the moment. So that's the biggest difference. But the sales page here will have all the details of the program. It has the full curriculum. So these are all the lessons, so you can see what all is in the program. But yeah. Anybody else have a question about anything before we hop off of here? I have enjoyed my time with you all. I hope you found this super duper helpful. If you have any questions about anything, hit me up on Instagram. My doors are always open. And I always have a little question box on my stories. I'll put a question box on my stories after the Zoom if you guys have any questions. You're welcome. All right, ladies. Well, you're so welcome. I will send out this replay and I hope to see you guys soon. See ya.